We're live. Transformers. Robots in disguise. Michael Bay was here. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this. This is my normal voice. Welcome to this Transformers reflection. On all five Transformers movies, all directed by Michael Bay. Yes, he has no life. And with the release of the fifth movie,
Aye.
with the release of the fifth movie, The Lost Night, I thought it best to, we thought it best to basically give our thoughts on these movies individually, and just, yeah, that's it really. I'm here with Harry Thomas, and I'm here with Labyrinth35, or David. I don't know what name you prefer to call yourself now, but I always know.
I'm okay with David. I haven't made any videos in a while, so I'll still go by Labyrinth35, but something may be happening rather soon.
Oh, is it going to be a review of Transformers 5?
I wouldn't count on that.
Fuck, I've got nothing to post on my social media. Anyway, enough Optimus Prime voice. Okay, so seeing as David hasn't been on here for a while, I'm going to let him start with, if you can remember, Transformers, the original one, which came out 10 years ago. Fuck me. Yeah, David, give us your thoughts on Michael Bay's first wet dream, Transformers.
What a great way to describe it. Right, so I remember when this film first came out, I went to see it with my auntie and her boyfriend. And I was that 10 years ago, I was 9 years old. So, I wasn't as, fueled into film as I was. Like, I've really enjoyed film, but I wasn't like the big film fan that I am right now. So I was just going in to see a movie. I wasn't even a fan of the Transformers when I went to see it.
Yeah.
I thought it was all right then, and that's basically what I've got to say about the first one. I thought that it was all right. I've seen it once, and let me just say this: if I thought that it was all right when I was 9 years old, I can only imagine what I would think of it right now, age 19.
Yeah.
But from what I remember of the film, that it's the best out of the four that I've seen.
Woo! Yeah.
I think something that Michael Bay really pulled off well in this film, which I don't say a lot to do with these films, but I think that the story of Sam Wiki meeting like and getting introduced into this world of the Transformers, I thought that the relationship with him and Bumblebee, I thought that was pretty well established in the
He's not
film.
gay.
And then you fall into the trappings of a usual Michael Bay film. The way that he objectifies women, the forced humor, the stupid parents in the film.
David, do you remember? There's a moment when Megan Fox is checking his car, like checking the engine, and then the camera like moves across her, pans across her body. I mean, yeah, she's hot, but it's like, this is not the Transformers movie that I certainly imagined, but okay.
No, but it doesn't really compare to the second film now, does it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God. But yeah. So in terms of like the full spectacle of the film, I think the movie looks amazing. When you really think about it, like the cinematography, it looks beautiful, and I think the special effects in this film for the Transformers themselves, they're really good.
And after 10 years, does it still hold up for you? Obviously, just from memory.
Well, not even just from memory, you know. I've seen like clips of the films when I've watched like YouTube videos discussing the Transformers movies. You know, they've shown clips from other films, and I'd definitely say that the effects hold up. And you know, comparing the effects in the first Transformers movie to some of the later films, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I think they're better.
Yikes.
But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on the first film.
What would you rate it
I'll
out of
discuss
10?
more if we get into a discussion. Rating out of 10. Well, this is going to say a lot about how much I think of this film series. I think that it's the best. I'd probably give it a 6.
6 out of 10. That's fair enough. Ugh. I'm going to pass the baton over to Harry.
Oh, thanks, Ollie. Transformers, robots in disguise. Before I go
No,
into
fucking Michael Bay in disguise.
exactly,
A good film series in disguise.
yeah, genius ways of putting it. I mean, before I go into my review, I will quickly say, if you, rather than watching these movies, you could just make the ultimate Transformers film with your toys.
Yeah, you can make an awesome stop motion animation Transformers movie.
Yeah.
Or watch the 80s film. Like, I haven't seen it, but I've heard that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that is a great Transformers movie. That's actually my second favorite, the 80s one. And yeah, that is what these most of these movies should have been. But yeah. But I can't believe this is 10 years old now. I have a lot of nostalgic memories of the first Transformers when it first came out. As a kid, I was like, wow, this looks amazing. This looks a ton of fun. And I have to say, this is easily the best of the Michael Bay Transformers movies. It is not a groundbreaking film by any means, but it's not trying to be. It's a simple, enormous fun action summer blockbuster with a surprising amount of heart. So yeah, this is the easiest movie of the series to sit through, simply because the plot is so simple, so straightforward.
It's still long though.
It's long. It's 2 hours 20 minutes, but it's one of the shortest in the series. The only one that's shorter is The Last Night, the latest.
Oh no, actually, no, it is the shortest. The Last Night is 2 hours 28 minutes, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. Oh wait, you haven't seen Age of Extinction? That one's like nearly 3 hours.
I have seen Age of Extinction. That's. Oh, we'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get to that one later.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, this is the shortest, which is why it's by far the best paced. I mean, sure, the first half of the film does have the filler with the human characters. That is the biggest, the biggest issues with these movies. They always focus too much on the human characters. The Transformers themselves should be the main characters. But that being said, I will get into the positives first. The best things about this movie are the Transformers. Optimus Prime is always my favorite character in this series. He's brought to life so brilliantly, and Peter Cullen has an absolutely awesome voice. He doesn't get the attention he deserves for this role. And
thank you, Harry.
You're welcome. Peter, and fun fact, Peter Cullen is also the voice of Eeyore in Disney's Winnie the Pooh. So one.
Really?
Yeah.
I never knew that. That's really cool.
Oh my god, Eeyore actually kicks ass.
Absolutely.
He's finally standing up to the people that bring him down.
Pretty much.
Michael Bay.
Exactly, and yeah, Bumblebee is great too. He obviously connects with the human characters, with Sam and Michaela, and I like all the other Autobots too. Iron Eyes are and co are well done. And Megatron in this movie comes across as a great villain. He's a freaking beast and an actual challenge.
Would you say that he's introduced too late into the film?
Yeah, oh yeah, way too late. We don't see him until like the third act. He could have definitely appeared sooner than he did. But when he is on screen, he provides a great threat. So yeah, it's a shame he sucks balls in the sequels. And oh yeah,
it's Hugo Weaving doing the voice, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, Hugo Weaving, is fantastic as Megatron, and the effects are staggeringly good. This is the cheapest Transformers movie. Yes, it looks the best. That is incredible, and
that's not saying much.
not saying much. It's still pretty big budget by standards, and the action, of course, is one of the strongest aspects of this movie. It's rock solid. The opening action scene.
It's funny, Harry. Sorry to interrupt you. Honest Trailers described the action for Transformers quite funny, actually. They described it as two junkyards having sex. Because it is Michael Bay.
It's not wrong.
Which that statement does kind of ring true. But for the first movie, probably has the best action of the series.
Oh yeah, best by far. It's the action's the right size. It's the right length as well. I am so and the highway battle itself is particularly awesome, as well as the amazing city battle at the end, which has become the climax for all 5 of these movies, which they just repeat and
rinse and repeat.
Oh yeah, and the soundtrack as well is so catchy, epic, and fun to listen to. The soundtracks for these movies are actually underrated.
I think the best piece of music is when the meteors arrive to Earth. You know, when after Bumblebee has a fight, and then Sam and Michaela see the Transformers come down to Earth, and it goes da 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 da. I think they reuse that theme in all of the movies, in all of the sequels, actually.
Yeah, they do for the arrival of the Autobots. That is awesome, and the Linkin Park song at the end. Linkin Park do the end credit songs for the first 3 at least. What I've Done is my favorite song in the series, and
I
really like that song as well.
Oh, definitely. And as for the human characters, they are pretty mixed in this movie. I mean, Shia LaBeouf gets a lot of hate, but I think Shia LaBeouf, absolutely.
No, he's all right.
Sure, he can. I know he's annoying in parts, but I still think he has charm to him, and I like his bond that he forms, like David said, with Bumblebee. That was well done, and I know you're going to call me crazy, but I don't think Megan Fox is that bad.
Crazy!
I think she's an underrated actress. There, I said.
Until she fell out with Michael Bay.
Oh yeah,
But we'll get to that in the next movie.
Oh my god, yeah.
Definitely. But I actually do buy her romance with Sam here, and and she is hot. I mean, Michael Bay, he always sexualizes women in these movies. Just that shot of her leaning on the car and showing her body. I'm like, Michael Bay, you pervert, and just show some respect.
In defense of the Transformers movies, with all of his movies.
True.
He's not singling out the Transformers just for that.
Actually,
I'm surprised he didn't have, like, other than the second film, you know, when there's that, I say plot twist, he doesn't have many female Transformers that he objectifies, other than the one in Revenge of the Fallen, which we'll get to in a sec. But, you know, I mean, you know, I'm not saying the eye candy's bad, but maybe it's overdone for these movies. It's like, come on, Michael Bay, like, can you focus? I've yet to see a Transformers movie that focuses on the Transformers.
Uh, exactly. Yeah. There could be more balance of gender with the Transformers. There's barely any female Transformers here. Yeah, I agree. And
Inbreed.
oh yeah, and the military, they kind of could have been taken as the film. Why do these movies need a military in? I mean, just because Michael Bay has an obsession with them, and
Yeah. Another thing he masturbates to.
uh, exactly, yeah,
Can
his
I
move.
ask you?
He is a big fan of the military.
Yeah, literally. Can I ask you, Harry? Why? You know Josh Duhamel's character Lennox. Why was his wife in the movie? Why was their daughter in the movie? Like, did they need to be there? I know it was like his emotional reason to fight and everything, but he's just basically a soldier boy. There's no other reason why he's there. We don't care
Uh,
about his character. This is a Transformers movie. You know what?
yeah, yeah. This is a Transformers movie. You need to develop the Autobots, not the freaking humans, and all, and John Turturro in this movie. He's bearable, I guess. He's nowhere near as fucking obnoxious as he is in Revenge of the Fallen, but I will get to that. And
I blame Michael Bay for that. I don't blame John Turturro.
Yeah, I find it really unfortunate that in these movies that John Turturro does have to go through all of this stuff because he's such a great actor and yet he subjugates himself to these films.
I know he
Easy money.
deserves way better. I know, and I'm glad at least that's well. Yes, Sam's parents are the most annoying, horrible characters in these films, but at least they're not in it here as much as they are in Revenge of the Fallen. And oh yeah, and the humor is also very hit and miss. I did laugh at some of the one-liners, but one joke that just made me cringe was Bumblebee, stop lubricating the man.
Oh, one that made me
Oh,
was when the mother said to Sam, "Were you masturbating?"
Yeah,
Oh,
I know, right?
oh,
What
what?
the
I
fuck?
don't want that in a Transformers movie. Oh, it's
No,
disgusting.
no,
Time and a place.
yeah,
this is 12. This is 12.
I never
Making
understood
it.
that until I was older. When I first saw the movie, I was 10. I was like, what the hell does she mean by that? And then years later, when you realize how, sexual intercourse works, you go, oh, that's sick.
You see, this is what I don't understand. Like most films, they'll throw in like humor that adults will get. It'll fly over kids' heads.
Yeah,
But
that's
in the case,
Transformers is meant to be aimed for kids. It's robots hitting each other. It's used as a commercial, campaign. It's used as a marketing campaign. That's fine. But when
it's for
you
toys. It's
yeah,
Hasbro.
exactly,
Hasbro finances these films.
exactly, yeah. So it's like, then why in the script do you feel the need to throw in all the sexual innuendo? This film does not know its target audience.
Exactly. Like films they throw in references that are meant to go over kids' heads, but in the case of this film, it directly references it in not even a very funny way. And it will make children question and it's not a case of, oh no, Timmy, we'll tell you when you're older. It's a case of, oh wait, what is that?
Yeah,
What did she just say?
I can imagine 10 years ago when this came out, like there was a little boy that turned next to his mum or dad and said, "Mommy, what's masturbating?"
exactly. Yeah, just too many sex jokes. But I will say that this film is the most tonally consistent Transformers film. It just wants to be basic and just wants to have fun. At least
Lol, basic.
uh, basic. Oh, exactly, because it's Michael Bay. But
Basic.
but at least the sex jokes here aren't as common as they are in Revenge of the Fallen, and the whole. And I actually find the fact that the movie delves into this is the movie where Optimus probably gets the most screen time, along with Dark of the Moon. It actually delves into his character and motivations way more than the others. While the other Autobots see the humans as a race not worth saving, he sees the good in them and more to them than meets the eye, as he says in his speech at the end. That's actually that's pretty solid character development. I know.
Yeah, that's actually quite a decent message. There's more than meets the eye. They could have actually expanded on that quite a lot more.
Which is a nice wink to the fans as well. More than meets the eye.
Oh yeah, definitely. I know, right? That proves that Michael Bay, he's capable of making a good movie.
And he's also capable of making a bad movie. Like that was also it was an ambiguous line.
He's pretty much capable of both. But here, with this movie, he definitely tried the most, and I still thoroughly enjoy the first Transformers. 10 years later, it's always the one I've seen most and had the most appreciation for. So yeah, I have a little soft spot for it. So I am going to give Transformers a good 8 out of 10. Not bad, Michael Bay.
Wow.
Yes.
Well, as for me, I'm kind of almost in agreement with Harry. Not quite. I think I do remember the first Transformers quite well. When it was coming out, I'd seen the trailer. My dad was going to take me and my sister to see it, and I watched the trailer. I thought, what the hell is this? This looks really babyish. Just like, basically, I thought it was for really, really young kids, but I ended up really enjoying it when I was 10. Over the years, I started to, because everybody kept criticizing Michael Bay's movies, I could see the problems. I don't think this is a brilliant film. I don't think it's terrible either. I actually think it's decent. It's fine.
Yeah.
It'll do. It's fine. It's as a one-off.
In my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a bit better than David says, but I understand why David doesn't like it that much. To
be fair, I haven't seen it in like 10 years, so
yeah. Understandably so.
I'm judging from memory with this discussion, so maybe if I went back to see it, I'd enjoy it more.
Oh, no, don't worry. I won't encourage you. Yeah, as I was saying, I like this movie on the basis that it's simple. It's a simplistic tale. It knows what it is, and it just has fun. And that's all these movies should be, just fun. They shouldn't try to be too epic like the sequels, but we'll get to them in a minute. I actually kind of like the human characters, or most of them. I think Shia LaBeouf, well, shit a bed. I used to find him quite annoying. He can be annoying, but I think that's under the direction of Michael Bay. I think that's really Michael Bay's vision, really. Shia LaBeouf, I watched Dark of the Moon earlier, actually, because I rewatched all the films to prepare for the new one, and also for this hangout. And he's actually rather good, and he can handle the emotional stuff pretty well. For this movie, we're getting to know him, and I think he's quite a compelling character, even if the script doesn't really lend itself to him. But I don't really buy the romance with him and Michaela. I'm sorry, Harry. Yeah, sorry.
No, that's okay.
You can shoot me down, but I just think Megan Fox, there's no conviction in her performance. She was basically cast because she's a hottie, and which I have no problem with, but surely she could have given it some more in the performance. I don't think she's terrible. I just don't think she's good. I just think she's mediocre, and I think the romance between her, I just don't believe that she would actually fall for the guy. But that shouldn't be what I'm focusing on in a Transformers movie. So I don't really care about it. The military characters, like the soldiers at the beginning, they are quite good. You don't need to see them in any other movies, though. I don't know why they brought all of them back, but anyway, like Josh Duhamel, he's a good character. But again, I don't understand why his wife and his daughter were in it, because they were only in the beginning and the end. Like, I know it's like his emotional reason to keep fighting, but he's not really a main character, so you could have just removed that entirely. For me, as good, this film is fun. It's fun. I do like some of the comedy. although some of it is a bit hit and miss, like Harry said. I think the biggest misstep is actually the Transformers themselves. Michael Bay introduces them far too late into the movie. They come in like halfway in the movie. We spend half the movie focusing on the human characters, and then the second half, Optimus Prime and the Autobots come in. It's like, we've been here for ages. Finally, something has happened. So I think the movie takes too long to really sort of get going. It's a bit long, and I mean, it is the shortest of the series, which doesn't say much. I mean, it's entertaining. I like the action. Like, the opening action scene is great in Qatar. The final battle is pretty awesome, and it's not as big as some of the others. So that's what I like. Some of the other characters as well. The two, I think the guy's name is Anthony Anderson, the actor. I think what's the character's name? Glenn, something like that. I can't remember. The woman goes to see him to encrypt the data that she copies, etc. Of the sounds, like the and yeah, like there's too many, like they try to have too many comedy characters. It's like there's too much comedy. It's like I'm okay with light relief, but it doesn't work. Some of the jokes aren't appropriate for Transformers, and like, yeah, John Turturro, he's kind of like, he's likable, but he's over the top. Not as much as Revenge of the Fallen, but we'll get to that later.
Oh yeah.
I mean, one thing I will say in Michael Bay's defense, I will always profess that Michael Bay is a talented person when it comes to the technical side of film.
Definitely.
You know.
Oh yeah, this film alone, it received 3 Oscar nominations. I'm just looking at it right now. It was nominated for Best Visual Effects. It was nominated for and sound editing as well, and for that, it's well deserving, you know.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. Absolutely. I mean, one thing you could say about him is that he's so technically talented. He's great on the camera. He's great in the visual effects department. He's great.
I think he'd be a great cinematographer if he really wanted to be.
Yeah, I mean, he's worked with a great cinematographer, and his sound design is also very good. But as a director producer, oh fuck me.
Ooh, when he produces something, it really shows.
Yeah.
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movies, for God's sake, you know.
I've never seen
his DNA is firmly planted in that film.
Yeah, I don't quite know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. Whether it's just that he's not a people person, or whether it's just that he can't manage the running of a project, or I just don't get it. And you know, his directing is this is his best direction of the series by default, because he's reined himself in as much as he can without going so far. I don't know. I just think he feels like the problem I have with Michael Bay is that he has a mindset that everything has to be big, everything has to be huge and massive and epic, and it's like, no, you can just be simple. He does that, but
yeah,
you know, at points it goes too far. It's like, no, can you just pull back? We don't need that. And you know, I don't think he can direct his actors well at all. I mean, Shia LaBeouf is a good actor anyway. I mean, as much as I take the piss out of the guy, he is a decent actor, and he does try his best.
He really is. I think Shia LaBeouf is a really good actor. I don't know whether either of you have seen it, but he's great in the film Fury. I thought he was great in that movie.
Yeah, I agree.
I've yet to see that film. I'll check.
So he does have that potential, but like you said, I don't think Michael Bay isn't actor's director. You know, I think that he knows what he wants to do, and he's going to shoot it. Mark Wahlberg, I've read interviews for the last night, and he said as much. You know, Michael Bay has what he wants to shoot in his head, and whether we like it or not, he is an auteur. You know, you watch one of his films and you immediately know that it's one of his films, even if you don't see his name.
Auteur in the sense that you can't take anything away from. There's no creative liaison with the guy. He's just set in his ways. He knows what he wants. You can't change his mind. So, says a lot, really.
It's distinctly Michael Bay, and that's what it is.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, this movie isn't as like, you know, leery or long as the others, and it is the most watchable of them because it goes by quickest. And there are some good action scenes. He does have some good action scenes, even though some of them aren't choreographed to like today's standards. But you know, they're entertaining. You know, I see the Transformers movies. Why I have a soft spot for them is I see them as nonsense. They are wonderful nonsense that has been splattered. Basically, I switch my brain off. I don't really care too much about what goes on. If I'm having a bad day, if I'm having a rainy day, if I'm feeling tired, switch on Transformers, and then you know what? It's fine. I can watch it as a mindless action romp. It's fine, but you know, as an actual piece of film, as with artistic merit, well, there is none. There is none whatsoever. Actually, to be fair, this movie has the most interesting scenes with the military, with John Voight as the defense secretary. I think he's actually rather good in his role, and I do like some of those scenes. And I also like when they see Megatron, even though Megatron's introduced far too late. For me, there's enough going on for me to say, yeah, it's good, it's fine. I think it should have been a one-off, but oh well, we've got 5 movies now. There's not much more I can add. I actually do like the one of my favorite action scenes is the scene in the desert with the scorpion that attacks the soldier.
Oh yeah, I remember that being pretty cool.
Yeah, and I mean the score as well by Steve Jablonsky is an underrated score. I think it's really, really good, and at least it gave me something to emphasize the epicness of the story and the scope and the sort of, I mean, like the arrival to Earth scene when all the Transformers come crashing down in the meteors, and you know the way it just goes da 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 da. But just the score overall is amazing, and I think, I mean, even though they've reused a lot of it, it's still fantastic. And again, the Linkin Park song is great. The movie ends nicely as well, like with Bumblebee choosing to stay with Sam. I like that, and I actually do quite like rewatching the first three movies recently. I actually do really quite like Sam Witwicky's journey and how he matures as he goes along, and his relationship with the Transformers and his journey as a character. I mean, by the third film, I feel he's really come a long way. But we'll get to Dark of the Moon in a bit. So yeah, the first one, it's good, it's fine, it's decent. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it's fun. It's a fun watch. There are problems with it, but not as much as the sequels. So I'm going to give Transformers, the first one, a 7 out of 10. So we now move on to the one that everyone hates. I guess I have to go with David now, and you know, with Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen or Revenge of the Bay.
That's a good way to describe it. Yeah, as you previously alluded to, I'm not the biggest fan of this movie.
Oh, shame.
Yeah, you think that I love it.
Michael Bay. Who doesn't love Michael Bay?
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this movie. To be honest, I'd go far as to say that I hate it.
You're not the only one.
One of the worst movies ever made for you.
Yeah, I did say that in a group chat. Well, a chat in general. Multiple ones. To be honest, my friends that I go to see movies with, they're always making fun of me when it comes to Transformers because they always come back to this movie and another one that we'll get to. But yeah, in terms of this movie, you know, Michael Bay came back after the success of the first film. And, you know, he wanted to make it grander and bigger, like you were saying, Ollie. But something that you brought up in your review of Transformers that I really want to bring up is the fact that, sure, the Transformers came really late into the first film.
Oh, wait, when did I bring that up? You mean just...
Yeah, just now you said that the Transformers come into the first film quite late into the game.
Yeah.
When you really consider it, that film is really trying to establish the world, as well as establish the characters.
Yeah. Which ones?
And I actually think it would have been great had we seen the Transformers in that film. You know, have a more prominent role. Works in that film's favor because you've got to establish the relationship with Sam and Michaela because you've never seen them before. But in terms of like Optimus Prime and Bumblebee and Megatron, you do know those characters just from pop culture in general. However, with this film, I do think that you come into that problem in the case of know those characters, so they're established and focusing on the humans. Now that we've established the humans in the first film, as well as having the Transformers, the opportunity could come to the forefront in which the Transformers could play a bigger role. But ultimately, I don't think they really do in this movie because you do
I think the opening tries to trick you in that sense. The opening scenes, like the opening Shanghai chase, is meant to sort of trick you into thinking, oh, okay, we're going to get a movie focusing on the Transformers, and then we cut back to Sam. It's like, oh, I thought we'd done with this guy.
exactly. But you get more of Sam Witwicky in this movie, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. In some cases, it is. But you know, when it comes to like the obligatory shots of Megan Fox in the film, you know, the motorbike.
Oh,
you know, very, very overly sexualized. I'm not a huge fan of that shot for that very reason.
It's a wonder her pants didn't rip.
I know, right?
The way she was perched on the bike. Actually, funny enough, there was a critic who reviewed these movies, and this one, you know, he describes Michael Bay as a pornographic filmmaker, and you know, he says, "Oh, Michael Bay does everything with a sense of raw, raw, like you know, like everything's like so high octane, so like, like you know, like so."
Yeah, well, in that case, these movies are the most expensive and highest grossing pornographic films ever made.
Particularly this
by far.
And made by Hasbro.
Yeah. Thank you, Michael Bay, for making Hasbro's toys into a sex comedy.
But yeah, you know, in this film, we get more of that Michael Bay humor, and I really do think that it takes a turn for the worst in this film. In the case of is it in this one where the mother gets high?
Yeah. Oh God.
But yeah, that's not good at all. And then you've got you know, the racist robots that come into the
God.
Yeah.
They are so annoying. You know,
the Transformers versions of Jar Jar Binks.
Exactly.
Even worse.
Sorry. Were you going to say something?
Oh no.
I was just going to say, you know, in general, whenever you get characters like that, you know, there's the opportunity to make them likable, like, you know, be right on the cusp, potentially being really bad, off bad, or you can kind of spin it and make into something special. But in this case, Michael Bay just went over the top, and you know, it is really racist. When I first watched this film, I found it really hard to watch. You know, and I was just 11 when this film came out. I was 11. How am I meant to feel watching this film at 11 years old compared to now? I have this. I have all this knowledge of the stuff that's gone on in the world, and yet seeing this film, it came out in 2009, and we're still getting films with these, you know, racist robots.
It may not have been intentional from Michael Bay, but even so, I guess looking back on it, he picked up on it.
And then, you know, you've also got the giant It is a Decepticon, right? You know, the one with the massive
Yeah, the
balls.
frozen one, yeah.
One with the massive balls as well.
Oh God.
Just Michael Bay, you know, he just throws it in your face, like you said. It's just all up in your face, and you know, it's not a good sight to see. Um, but
No.
yeah, I do want to say though, this film, I
I
do.
have a question about that. If he's a transformer and he's got balls dangling down from him, could he transform into a female, or is that not possible?
Well, you know, the dinosaurs did it in Jurassic Park. You know, thanks to frogs.
Oh gosh.
um,
Get to the dinosaurs in a minute.
yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Will we? Will we? Because we had to wait ages for them, but oh well. We'll have to wait even longer.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a bit. But yeah, I do want to point out in terms of action sequences, I do actually think this one has a pretty cool action sequence in the woods.
Yes.
I agree.
I think that's a pretty good action sequence. You know, trying to be positive about this film, and you know, the visual effects once again, they're all great. Sound mixing, editing, you know, that's all great, and the cinematography.
Some people criticized Michael Bay's movies being too loud as well.
Too loud.
Yeah. As in,
Yeah,
like,
I would say so.
yeah, like the sound effects. You really hear like the dong, bang, ding, dong, like, of the fighting.
Yeah, it's very, very clear, like when you hear the sounds in this film. But in terms of the technical achievement, I think that it's really well done.
Yeah.
However, in terms of the sound, it is really loud. But yeah, I as much as Michael Bay gets criticized for some of his action, I actually think that in some cases, the final fight in the desert, I think that's pretty well staged. However,
Des was
um, however, I will say this: in terms of the Transformers themselves, sometimes I do find it hard to recognize which Transformer it is. It more comes into play in like the first one and the third one, if I really think about it. But sometimes I just do not know who's fighting who in a scene unless it is Optimus or Bumblebee.
I think also the camera work doesn't help. Michael Bay, I don't know whether this is intentional, but there's a lot of shaky cam in his movies.
Mm.
I don't know if it's intentional, but it becomes distracting to a point, and you know, because there's bits of robot flying everywhere, so you don't really know who's who. I mean, this is a problem throughout the series, but I think actually in Dark of the Moon it's a little bit better. But even so, like definitely in Age of Extinction and Revenge of the Fallen, you come across it quite a lot.
Yeah, and you know the ending is what it is. You know,
Same ending, it's just another speech.
Sam Witwicky, you know, in this film at the beginning, you know, he finds a bit of the old spark in his jacket, you know, don't know how it's still there after a few years, like, but you know, it is what it is. And so we see, you know, everything go on with him in this film, you know, to do with the old spark, like how it makes him overreact, and unfortunately for Shia LaBeouf, to his detriment, you know, he kind of overacts in this film in certain scenes.
Yeah,
in
again,
my opinion.
Michael Bay's direction.
Yeah, he's not, like I said, he's not an actor's director.
Yeah, the bit when he's like, you know, when what's her name changes from a human to a transformer after she tries to seduce him
Yeah.
for no reason. You know, he starts screaming. He goes, ah, ah, ah! It's like, what?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Oh, but yeah, try to be as positive as I can about this film.
Don't force yourself If you need to rant, then rant.
So I could be wrong. I could be mistaking this for Dark of the Moon, but is this the one with Sam? Like he kind of dies or something, and then has like a vision of like Transformers Heaven.
But yeah, no, this is Revenge of the Fallen. Yeah,
Yeah,
Moon was when he got a new girlfriend.
yeah. Right. So I'm not a big fan of that scene because you know it happens and then it's over.
And then he
You
somehow
know
grabbed the Matrix.
exactly. So you know I'm not the biggest fan of this film. I think that it's over bloated. I'm not a fan of the humor at all. I do think that the Transformers could have been more to the forefront. It's not something like Pacific Rim, you know. In terms of Pacific Rim, the robots are just robots. They have no character. So you do focus on the humans. Whereas with these films, the Transformers, yeah, they're robots, but they're actually living things. So
Yeah. Well, until Optimus Prime dies.
true. But you have the opportunity to have them as main characters, and I think that that's something that Michael Bay really let the fans down on with this film. So in terms of a score, I really don't like this film. I've tried my best to be positive. I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10.
That's fair enough. Actually, speaking of score, did you like the music score?
From what I remember, yes. Like you said, they reused some stuff, but you know, for the film stories, you know, film series, you know, you repeat certain. So yeah.
Okay, so Harry, I'm
Maybe
surprised.
maybe 3 was too positive, but you know, just off the top of my head.
That's fine. I'm surprised you didn't give it a 0.
There are some things.
Fair enough. That's kind of the most. So yeah, Harry. Before you start, can I just ask, how comes you didn't call your review an extreme rant?
Oh yeah, I don't do all of my rants extreme. I only say the extreme rants for some of my least favorite movies of all time. But I wouldn't quite call Revenge of the Fallen one of the top 10 worst movies of all time. Oh my God, Revenge of the Fallen or Revenge of the Bay, as you said.
Yes.
Just one word to describe this shitty and beyond disappointing sequel. Awful. It's an awful movie just on its own, let alone a sequel to an actually good summer blockbuster. Just Michael Bay, what the fuck happened? I mean, it's as if he didn't have a clear vision with what he wanted to do for a sequel to his
masturbating.
Exactly. He was masturbating in all the money he made from the first film, so he just thought, I don't need to try, I just need to make something, anything.
Basically made the same movie again, just in Egypt.
Yeah.
With minor differences.
And I don't think it helped that this film was made during the writers' strike of 2008 either. You know, that's something that affected X-Men Origins Wolverine as well. So you know, it didn't work out well for 2009.
I mean, that movie doesn't exist as far as I'm concerned.
Oh no,
I agree.
Well, yeah, the writers' strike didn't help. Absolutely. To be fair, the writers' strike was part of the problem. But Michael Bay.
No, actually, sorry. To be unfair, how difficult is it to write a Transformers movie? It's robots hitting each other. It's not difficult.
Yeah, it's easy as pie. I know, and but Michael Bay he completely put all the blame on the writers' strike when it was his movie as well. I'm sorry, Mr. Bay, but you deserve as much as the fucking blame as the writers and Paramount for.
He did say in an interview that he thought it was crap. Maybe he said that to just shut the press up, but even so,
yeah,
at least he admitted that there were problems with it. At least,
yeah, I will. Yeah, I will say in his defense, at least he had actually admitted it was crap because it is. At least he acknowledged its flaws and promised he'd make the third movie better. But whether he kept his promise for 4 and 5, that's another story. But oh yeah, just but at least the two good things this movie does have going for it. At least it gave us Jeremy Jorns. Fun fact: this was the first review Jeremy Jorns ever did.
That's
back
very true.
Yeah. In hindsight, though, Harry, that's not really a praise. It's just kind of a bonus.
Oh yeah, I guess so. but the only scene that I got enjoyment out of was the forest fight, as David says. That's the only good action scene in the movie. But that's it. The rest of it is pure shit. It's there's no story. They took the plot of the first Transformers and put it in a fucking blender. It's just overstuffed. I didn't even know what it was about. Was it about Sam and him going to college? Was it about the Tomb of the Primes? Was it about the Fallen returning? I don't know.
To answer that question, it was sort of about all of those things. But you wouldn't
exactly.
You wouldn't
repeat.
Yeah, exactly. It's just it's one of the messiest summer blockbusters I have certainly ever seen. I don't think anybody involved with this movie really enjoyed making it whatsoever. And the first hour of the film, it's absolutely appalling. It actually includes dogs having sex. Who the fuck wanted to see dog sex in a Transformers movie, Mr.
I'd
Bay?
completely forgotten about that.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's in. Oh.
Yeah. What possessed you, Mr. Bay, to put that in the script? And
kids are watching these movies.
Yeah. and
is Michael Bay intentionally trying to give a sex education class?
He very well might be.
That's
kids, this is how you do it. Bend over.
Do you think Rainn Wilson's character is who Michael Bay thinks he is? You know, like the winking at all the girls. You know. Do you reckon that's who he thinks he is?
I have no idea.
Well, that's what it looks like. Absolutely. Yeah, he's more of a sex educator than a movie maker. That's for sure. Yeah,
he has many talents.
Absolutely. Yeah. And Sam's parents, they are 10 times more obnoxious and pointless here. Michael Bay shoves them in every fucking scene he can, and they even appear in the scene literally seconds after Optimus Prime has been killed off. They are just off somewhere eating dinner. Michael Bay, just fuck you. That is disrespectful to my favorite character, putting these two when we're supposed to be mourning Optimus's death.
Why were they brought into the desert?
Yeah,
that didn't make sense. Like, they had no reason to be there. I know Sam was there, but like, they were just there. Like, why were they brought to the desert? It didn't make sense. And how did the Transformer know that they were Sam's parents?
I know. They are just there because the plot needs them to be. Yeah, there is.
It's for the same reason why people put pineapple on pizza.
For no reason.
It shouldn't happen.
Exactly. No reason. But that is far from the only illogical thing in this movie. Optimus Prime, I was so let down by what they did with my favorite character in these movies. He appears like 2 or 3 times before he gets killed off pointlessly. There was no reason for him to die in the middle if we know he's going to be brought back to life at the end anyway. And
in the same film.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. That was.
Well, they should have Transformers 3: The Search for Optimus Prime.
Yeah.
This film should have ended on a cliffhanger, and that should have been his death. Like, don't do it like only an hour into a 2.5 hour film.
Well, yeah. If they were going to do it, just save it till the end. That would have been more powerful. But I know that was to completely force the drama into the middle doing that, and Sam had a piece of the Allspark, so why didn't he just think of bringing Optimus back to life right then? I'll never know. And just the pacing is so god awful. It's I have never seen a summer movie. Well, rarely seen a summer movie that drags as much as this. Yeah, and the action is it's just a lot of loud noise. It's forgettable, and I always fall asleep during the action scenes in this film. Well, apart from the forest fight, but for the opening in Shanghai, just fall asleep, and the final battle in ancient Egypt, I don't give a fuck because I know who's gonna win the day. Just wake me up when that's over. And oh yeah, and the CGI here is garbage. There's no soul. There's no effort put into it. How does the first Transformers movie that was released 2 years before this one look way better in comparison? Oh,
Hey, at least it's not 9 years difference like X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh yeah. Oh, CGI and that was
Fucking rubber claws.
oh yeah, horrible. And
I hate that scene when he's fumbling in the bathroom in Origins Wolverine.
oh my
I wonder
god.
if they could ever do that in a Transformers movie, you know, like put a Transformer in a bathroom and see what happens.
Bumblebee, get the soap.
Let's try. And the two and the comedic characters, they completely mess up the tone of this movie. This movie does not know what it wants to be. Does it want to be an action film or a kids film? So the comic relief robots are
Or a sex movie.
Exactly, or a sex movie.
Why was Leo in the movie? Why was Leo in the film at all?
For oh yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, we should ask Michael Bay that himself. And in fact, yeah, the two comedic robots, they're actually, fun fact, voiced by Tom Kenny, the voice of SpongeBob SquarePants, which was
me.
Yeah, which was nice
I'm
for
ready.
me. But...
I'm ready. I'm ready.
I'm ready to be racist.
Exactly. Poor Tom Kenny. How dare they bring him into
He
this?
probably signed on with
Krabby Patty.
It's a great impression. He probably
Thank you. I can do Shaggy from Scooby Doo, but you know that's another cast.
We should do a cast of the two live action Scooby Doos. But I was going to say
Scooby Doo, where are you?
Nice
like
one.
zoinks! Like Tom Kenny probably signed on without even reading the script.
It wouldn't
He probably-
surprise me.
Probably
Oh,
did.
actually, sorry if there was a script.
Yeah, there probably is no scripts, and from what I can see, and just how dare they treat such a talented voice actor like this, make him voice these two fucking horrible characters. I mean, they are completely pointless. They are worse than Jar Jar Binks. Yes, I'd go that far. Oh my god, and the other Decepticon who's like, what are you looking at, Slobberpuss? Oh, I fucking despise that character.
I have to really agree with you on that point about those Transformers, because at least Jar Jar, they come off as like being, you know, like angry or whatever. You know, like, you know, to throw these you know, these different cultures in a negative light, you know, he's not doing that. He's just stupid. Whereas with these Transformers, yeah, it's bad connotations.
Yeah, at least Jar Jar was a harmless idiot. He didn't promote racism as much as these guys, but
Still,
Oh
Jar
yeah.
Jar should never have been saved by Qui-Gon.
Actually, yeah, that's true, actually. and and just that little Decepticon, and the moment when he humps Megan Fox's leg, for
Uh,
fuck's sake, Michael Bay, and why was that even here? And yeah, the sex jokes in this movie, the comedy, it's the shittiest, laziest, most pathetic comedy I've seen. It's well, it's probably not quite well, it's probably actually it probably is the worst comedy from this series. I mean, just the moment when the female Decepticon who disguises herself as this hot girl and she tries to fuck Sam, and you see the tail coming out of her ass. Like, oh, seriously, Michael Bay.
I mean, no, this is nice, but it's stuff I would expect to see on Pornhub.
Yeah. It doesn't belong in Transformers, and
Yeah.
yeah, and speaking,
It doesn't make sense as well. Like, why the hell why does she seduce him? I can't speak. Sorry. Why does she seduce him? She, then try and kill him. It's like, what? It doesn't make any sense.
Oh yeah, she had him right there. She could have just finished him off on the spot. And yeah, speaking of Sam, I can't tolerate him much in this movie. I mean, particularly the parts where he shouts Optimus. Oh, geez.
Optimus!
Exactly.
You gotta stop him! Get up! Optimus!
yeah, for the 5th time, and Michaela, she is here. I liked her in the first film, but here she's only here for eye candy. The shot of her ass on the motorbike. Michael Bay, please give your female characters a character for a change. Actually try. And
Harry, in the words of the TV advert, it's as the price.
Oh, yep.
When the Asda adverts, when they slap their asses. I always thought that was weird.
Definitely.
And then Michael Bay is McDonald's. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
it's funny, actually, speaking of that, these movies never had a McDonald's tie-in when they were released.
Yeah.
That's shocking to me.
They could have done.
Because of all the sex jokes in them, they probably thought, no, better not.
Yeah, inappropriate. And talking about most of the Transformers here, not only do they do so little focused on, but there's far too many of them. There's like 40 Transformers in this movie, and they all do jack shit. And the Fallen, he's one of the shittiest villains I've seen in a long time. He does nothing but sit on a ship.
Who calls himself the Fallen? And also, when I heard this movie was coming out and it was called Revenge of the Fallen, I thought, okay, that means all of the ones that died, and obviously because Starscream was still alive at the end of the first one, but it's actually a guy called the Fallen. What a shit name!
Yeah,
yeah. That's just saying, oh yeah, I'm really bad at my job.
Yeah,
you should be worried about me. I'm terrible at my job.
You haven't seen the last of me.
Yeah, that name actually suits him. It shows what a terrible antagonist he is. And the final showdown between Optimus
Harry,
and
as I said to you in my comment, mighty have fallen.
How the mighty have fallen, oh yeah. I'll say. And just the final showdown between Optimus and the Fallen in Egypt, it lasts literally 5 seconds. What a motherfucking anticlimactic. All that build up for nothing, basically, and Megatron also is completely wasted. They turn him into a pussy. They make him so weak as well. What a shame. And even the soundtrack I found forgettable, with the exception of the Linkin Park song at the end, New Divide. I actually like that song, just like what I've done. Oh, this is a terrible, messy, and all around shitty summer blockbuster. Yeah, it was a pain to get through. I really I need a booze after watching it, so, and therapy. So I am going to proudly give well, this atrocity 0 out of 10. But that's not the first, that's not the only 0 out of 10 this series is gonna get. So Ollie, I'll hand it to you to rant away.
Oh, well, there's nothing I can't top that. I can't top your rant. What I will simply say is, I mean, you're gonna hate me for this. I actually think this movie is okay. It's not great.
No, Ollie, no.
How could
I'm
you?
sorry. It's not great. It's not terrible. It's just okay. I do see where all the problems lie. To be fair, when I saw this movie, 8 years ago, I actually didn't understand all of the, like, I actually really enjoyed it. But that was because I had, again, like David, I wasn't as immersed into film, or I didn't understand, like, all the issues as I do now. It has gone down, in my opinion, and rightfully so. I don't think it's awful. I find some of the like story intriguing, like with the origins of Transformers and the whole ancient Egypt quest. But yeah, this movie's a major step down from the first one. It's a bit. The biggest issue with this movie is that it's just over the top. Michael Bay tries to throw everything in the kitchen sink in this film, and it's too much, and it really suffers because of that. I don't think we really needed Sam Witwicky at all.
Not really.
We didn't need him. We didn't need him whatsoever. As much as I like Shia LaBeouf, and I mean he's not bad in this movie, but yeah, he's over the top. And his story about going to college and stuff. I don't give a shit. I came to watch a movie called Transformers, not Humans. So. And why were the military brought back? I guess the military kind of had a purpose if they were working with the Autobots, but like Sam Witwicky and his storyline, no, you could have just scrapped him. And also Michaela as well, Megan Fox. I think she's a little bit better in this movie, but you can tell in some of her scenes that she's not enjoying herself. I think you could tell that there are a lot of problems between her and Michael Bay. So yeah, no wonder I feel sorry for her in a way for her getting sacked, but at the end of the day, these things happen. I do still think the action is pretty awesome. The forest fight is the best action scene in the movie, but I do like the final battle, epic in scale, and it's a bit bigger than the first one, and it's nice that it's in a desert. It's a more of a secluded environment. I mean, I don't think Optimus Prime off in the middle of the movie was the best decision they made, but
oh no,
you know what? They brought him back to life at the end, so I've made up for it. But yeah, it's more of the same. And the parents were overused a hell of a lot. I mean, I didn't mind them at the beginning because obviously they had to see Sam off to college, but and then just them coming to visit him and his mom getting high was like, no, too far. You've taken it way too far already. I mean, again, like the first movie, the cinematography is brilliant. The CGI is brilliant. The visual effects are great. The action is awesome. But that's about it. Like, technically, it's a Marvel, but the rest of it, the story's a little bit messy. They try to overcomplicate it, and it doesn't really work. Why was Megatron in the film? Why did they bring him back to life? It doesn't make sense. Why did Sam's parents get thrown into the desert at the end? That didn't make sense. Why was Optimus Prime killed? That didn't make sense. There's a lot of things that didn't really make sense to me. And I mean, I watched this movie for the action scenes. I don't really watch it for the stories. I think it's a fun, there are some fun scenes, but it's a bit. The first hour is the worst for me. The first hour is a bit rocky, and I didn't understand why the hell Leo was in the movie. After a while, and just every time he kept moaning and complaining, I was like, God, come on, shut the hell up. I mean, I was really actually quite pleased when he tased himself in the nuts. Yeah, John Turturro, he's fine in this movie. He's not, again, him taking his trousers off to reveal his arse. Like, what? Just the weird humor. I don't get that. It's not right for a Transformers movie. you know, it feels like Harry said, the tonal problems prevent me from seeing a clear film. It doesn't know what it wants to be. It doesn't know if it wants to be an action movie, sci-fi movie, a sex comedy movie, or a porn film. You know, and the whole like again. Also, none of them doesn't make sense. Is the young girl? Well, they call her Alice, but she's a transformer, obviously, and she seduces Sam. And then there's a moment when they're on the bed, and then you know the tail comes out, skirt, well, her dress, and you see her underwear. It's like, oh, this is. I did not in this movie. When I was seeing the trailers for this film, I did not imagine this to be in the film. It's like Transformers gone R-rated. What the fuck? Okay.
Totally.
Move on from that. I have to.
It's X-Men: The Last Stand all over again.
Oh god, no, X-Men as over the top as this, but fair enough. I disagree. The music score I like, even if a lot of it is rehashed. I still think it's pretty good, especially in the forest fight when Optimus Prime says, "I'll take you all on."
Oh yeah,
a classic theme, the da 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 da. But yeah, just a lot of things in this movie are unnecessary, and it just the writer's strike probably didn't help. I don't think it's as a treat, but it isn't great. The script needed a lot of work. There's too much going on in this movie, and I think that's the main problem. I don't think it's the worst of the series. We'll get to that later, but I can watch it and kind of have fun with it. But again, I have to be in the mood to see it, really. And yeah, some of the racism is uncalled for, really. Well, all of the racism, sorry, is uncalled for. Like those two twins could have been removed. But yeah, and the little wheelie transformer. Why did you have to hunt Megan Fox? I mean, a lot of men would kill to hunt Megan Fox, but even so, not in the movie. That's like it's like Michael Bay threw every deleted scene in this cut. And the fact that it's called Transformers and that the Transformers are in it so little. It's again the opening of the film is very misleading. The fact that we think we're going to get them on the Transformers, but then they cut to Sam Witwicky leaving for college. Again, I like the journey of Sam, but it's like in this movie, he's kind of he can be annoying. And when he goes to Transformer Heaven, very briefly, that's just that that doesn't make sense. And then he comes back to life. It's like, oh, okay, right. I don't get that. Fair enough.
There was no point making us think he was gonna die because we knew he was gonna survive anyways.
Yeah, I found it kind of cringy when Megan Fox was trying to confess her love to him, because I never believed their relationship in the first one. I didn't believe it even more. And, when she's like, "I love you, I need you, please come back to me, Sam, please, I love you." She's like crying to him.
And next thing we know, it's Transformers: Dark of the Moon.
Yeah. It's funny. They want to make you invest so much in their relationship that then Megan Fox is out of the third movie. So oh well, I'm gonna laugh at it. Oh god, it's
they could have. I know we don't want to get into Dark of the Moon yet, but they could have easily just said, "Oh yeah, Michaela's just off somewhere doing something else. She's not in the city. She's just busy." And there's no female lead, or the female lead is just a friend or a cousin or something. But no.
Yeah, no, they had to say, "Oh, she dumped him and he got a new girlfriend," which makes the first two films kind of redundant in that sense.
I know, right?
Yeah, but I guess I can't blame them. They didn't know. I guess they'd assumed if Michael Bay and Megan Fox hadn't fallen, she would have been in the third one. But oh well, that's the least of the worries. The film is too long. It does drag in a couple of scenes. Yeah, I'd agree with that. The Fallen is a pretty weak antagonist. He kind of just sits there on the ship for most of his screen time, then he just turns up at the end for a fight, and he dies. So yeah. So I mean, there are a lot of things wrong with this movie, but I just think it's okay. It's all right. It's nothing remarkable. It's nothing terrible. It's nothing fantastic. It's not even good. It's just okay. If you'd restructured the script, I think it would have been hell of a lot better. You didn't even need Sam Witwicky again, but for what it's worth. And the ending is the exact same bullshit as before. You know, the speech at the end. We are here. We are waiting. Da, 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 da. And it's like, okay, yeah, we get it. And then I do like the Linkin Park song they use, "New Divide." I really did like that. I was pretty obsessed with it when this film came out. I really did like that song. It's a great tune. I'm just sad that Linkin Park didn't do songs for the fourth and the fifth movies.
Oh yeah.
As a final rating for Revenge of the Fallen, you could give it a 5 out of 10. I know that might seem generous, but this is generally my opinion. I'm not going to apologize for saying I don't think it's as terrible as everyone says, but that's just me. Also, one thing which I did find disgusting was when the little Transformer bot was going into Sam's mouth. That was disgusting.
Oh yeah.
Gag. It was a bit weird. But yeah, now we move on to the third movie, the middle chapter of this saga, which is pretty much the same film, but oh well. Transformers Dark of the Moon. I watched it earlier today, actually, so this will be fresh in my mind. So, David, what do you make of Transformers Dark of the Moon?
It's better than number 2.
Woo! Yeah! Bravo.
But yeah, with this film, I do think that Michael Bay and the other people working on the film, I do think that they listened to the criticism of the second film, because this one is better. I think that it's got a more focused narrative, I guess you could say. But Sam Witwicky's more toned down in this film than in the second one, and I think that really works to the benefit of the film. And sure, I understand the reason why they had to have another love interest in the film, because of what Michael Bay and Megan Fox, they're falling out, her calling him Hitler. But, like I said before, just quick change in the script, and you could have very easily have just Rosie Huntington Whiteley, a friend of Shia LaBeouf, rather than the new girlfriend, because like you said, it makes the first two films completely redundant because they were about getting the girl and being with the girl. So it does make that rather redundant, and you could have even streamlined this film even more by not including her at all, because you've got this subplot with Shia LaBeouf's job and everything, and the boss. Oh, but
John Malkovich as well.
Exactly. That depresses me so much that John Malkovich is in this film, and Frances McDormand as well. Just looking through the films today, I didn't realize so many good actors are actually in these films, which is
Kelsey Grammer's in the next one, if that's any comfort.
And that is depressing.
And in the fifth one.
That's probably the most depressing thing about this film series.
Because I have to suck Michael Bay's cock.
Yeah. But yeah, isn't Rosie Huntington Whiteley like a model or something? She's not even an actress, is she?
She's a Victoria's Secret model. This was her acting debut, and I think she's only done one other film after this. I think she had a cameo in Mad Max Fury Road, but
as one of the wives.
Yeah, she was the one that was pregnant. Other than that, yeah,
well,
she was nothing else.
I can now say that I have a favorite role of hers, and it's in Mad Max.
Oh, interesting.
But yeah, I don't think that's all that great in this movie. I do find the character rather redundant. But yeah, this is the big one when you really think about it. Because they really explore like the moon landing in this one.
Yeah, this actually has
I
probably one
remember.
of the most intriguing premises. Not that they explore it very much, but at least
Oh
it's
yeah, not at all. But it's an interesting idea. They find a transformer on the moon. That's pretty cool.
yeah.
But it's just the way that they work that out. That's the problem. Um, but these movies appeal to me that much. But in terms of this one, I do enjoy the characters more. You've got Tyrese in there from Fast and the Furious. He's in there. He's doing, like his little one-liners here and there. You've got some pretty good action, which, when you really look at it, similar to the Avengers. The big battle. It's
Yeah.
kind of
Well,
similar to
actually, funny you should say that. When the first trailer for Avengers Assemble came out, it did remind me of Transformers: Dark of the Moon because of the big alien
really.
ships.
Yeah, but
No, that makes sense.
Yeah, because the design was very similar. Well, it was to me anyway.
Yeah. But yeah. You think that the final battle is way too long?
Yes,
Like this movie in general is just way too long. It's 154 minutes long.
it's 4 minutes longer than Revenge of the Fallen.
There's no need for it to be that long. It's a Transformers movie.
I think that's the big mistake with this one. Michael Bay tries to go epic.
He thought that it was his last one. He wanted to go all big, grand scale, and to his credit,
Then he chose to do two more.
he did that. He thought it was his last one, and to be fair, it was better than
It
the
should have been.
second one. It was better than the second one, and some people say, but they think that this one's better than the first one. I disagree with them, but I've heard that.
Yeah,
Um,
I think it's the story.
and another problem that I have in this film, Shia LaBeouf's a superhero in this one. He's
Yeah,
getting thrown around like a ragdoll, and yeah, he's still managing to survive and
not
doing
even a
free runs
stretch.
as well. It's stupid, and some people will say, "Oh yeah, but you just turn your brain off, and it's all like okay." But in this one and the last one, hard to do that because you've watched all of the other films, and considering I started off as a nerd, yeah, no, like a proper nerd, I
Yeah, the only time you see him
some
physically getting hurt is when he's going up against Patrick Dempsey as Dylan. When Dylan's like physically beating him. When he's up
exactly
against anyone else, he's fine.
exactly like you watch the other films and you wouldn't expect him to, be like a hero. Whereas in this film, like I said, he's getting thrown around like a ragdoll by Transformers, and he's all okay. So,
Other than that, would you say that his character has come on a journey?
I would say so. He's very different to the way that he is in the beginning of the first movie, and I do think that is successful that this trilogy has done. Um, would I say that it could have been handled much better? Yeah, I do. But it is what it is. It's a Michael Bay Transformers movie. All you can really say is at least in the second one. I'll give it a 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10.
Oh,
So it's still pretty weak for you, but it'll do.
Yeah, it's it's one of those things where it's watchable. Revenge of the Fallen. I can't watch that movie. Dark of the Moon, at least it's watchable.
Don't worry, I'll arrange a commentary on Revenge of the Fallen soon that you can join.
Oh, joy.
Oh, so move on to Harry. So, Harry, what do you think of? I know what you think of it anyway because I watched your review earlier. But even so, for the sake of the viewers, what do you think of Transformers: Dark of the Moon?
Oh, this is gonna shock a lot of people, but I actually think Dark of the Moon is the first good Transformers movie since the first one. Yeah, I think
having a heart attack inside.
Sorry about that. I think this movie is underrated. I mean, people still hate it and say it's shit just because it's one of the sequels, but I think at least Michael Bay to learn a little from Revenge of the Fallen. He apologized. He promised he'd make this a better movie, and at least he's attempting to make a good movie, and that really shows. What I love is how this movie refers more to basically Cybertron and the origins of the Transformers, way more than Revenge of the Fallen does, because we actually get to see the final days of the Cybertron War in the opening, which is amazing. Wow, and the idea of Sentinel Prime crash landing on the moon, that's pretty interesting. If only the entire movie was based around that.
I'll fly you to the moon and back if you'll be my baby.
Exactly, and yeah, totally. And
sorry.
And Optimus Prime in this movie, wow, they made up for what he was lacking in Revenge of the Fallen. He is a complete badass here. He just throws down. He's slicing down Decepticons in the Battle of Chicago, and they give him a lot more depth. And his relationship with Sentinel is actually the heart of the film. It's quite compelling to see their clash of ideologies. Sentinel wants to bring Cybertron back and wipe out the humans. He believes that they can't coexist, but Optimus rightfully disagrees. He just wants peace between the races. Wow, that's a pretty...
Fuck you, Sentinel!
Yeah, suck my balls, Sentinel.
Suck the enemy's scrotum.
Oh yeah, forgot to mention that was a cringy joke in two. Yeah, and I do believe that the third act of Dark of the Moon and the Battle of Chicago might be the best action scene in the entire Transformers series. It fucking took my breath away when I saw it in the cinema. But I mean, summer 2011 was a great year for summer blockbusters. We had the Deathly Hallows Part 2, as well as Rise of the Planet of the Apes, and this. Yeah, this was...
And Pirates of the Caribbean 4.
Oh yeah, on Stranger Tides, of course. Yeah, this was jaw-dropping to witness in 3D on the big screen. I mean, finally, it's the awesome Autobot action that we paid to see. Michael Bay's doing something right.
My God, he actually made a good movie.
Yeah, it's a miracle. Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, just the battle was actually creative. It's a big step up from the boring action in Revenge of the Fall. I mean, the tentacles that wrap around the building, that's an absolute spectacle. And the visual effects are much better than Revenge of the Fall, and the soundtrack is amazing, one of my favorites in the series, and this is the last Linkin Park song that Linkin Park did for the series, which is a real shame. They should have returned for Age of Extinction and The Last Night as well, instead of Imagine Dragons, which I'll get to later on. Oh yeah, and And this movie, it's surprisingly, I think, the darkest and grittiest Transformers.
Well, I mean,
movie.
I don't know if the title gives it away. It is called Dark of the Moon.
Oh, exactly. Dark of the Moon. It's darker tone, and yeah, surprisingly, there's a lot of death in this one. I mean, Ionide's death was pretty sad. I'm not gonna lie, and it's extremely violent at parts. There's literally
It's funny. Michael Bay never decides to kill off the human characters. Well, rarely does he do that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, how come the human characters can survive all this apocalyptic destruction? The all-powerful, unstoppable Autobots can't. Yeah, that actually doesn't make much sense. Yeah.
Yeah, the big, massive robots that are made out of metal that are fighting each other are okay, but the people who are running through the rubble can get thrown around like a rag doll.
The only character in this movie, the only human character that dies is the Chinese guy at the beginning of the movie, who is working for that flying bird Decepticon thing. He gets thrown out the window and he dies. But he's the only human character that dies.
Yeah, that's unrealistic, and I know, right? And yeah, it's extremely violent. You have literally Autobot limbs getting ripped off, and one moment Optimus Prime literally launches his axe into Megatron's head and just rips his head off. Blimey, Michael.
Actually, to be fair, Patrick Dempsey does die at the end. So.
Oh yeah. So that's two.
Two.
Yeah, and the movie is it's still too long. I mean, you could have probably trimmed about half of the final battle. I mean, have it like be half an hour at the most. That would have been fine. But the first hour of this film is really what lets it down. The first hour is so. It's so weakly paced, and it contains what you hated about Transformers 2. Michael Bay, I thought you'd learned from that. It has the padding of Sam getting a job in Chicago, which we don't need, and just the abysmal comic sidekick Decepticon from 2 that didn't need to be in this movie at all. And as for my thoughts on Rosie Huntington-Whiteley as Carly, I like her. At least she tried, and wow, she's gorgeous. I can see why Michael Bay did cast her, but I do prefer Megan Fox overall, much to everybody's surprise. I mean, yeah, I mean, the first 2 movies built up Sam and Michaela's romance, so to cut Michaela out of the movie, I know. Was rightfully pissed off with Michael Bay for ruining her career. I can see why she called him a Hitler, but I totally understand it. But the movie doesn't even show Michaela dumping Sam. It just says,
have they actually made up now? Megan Fox and Michael Bay, because she's in the.
I would assume so because she was in the Tales movies.
I was going to say she's April O'Neil. So.
Oh yeah, so I guess so. Yeah. Glad they have.
Well, maybe she complained for not being in Transformers 3, but who knows?
Yeah, probably. Well, and so but they don't even show Michaela dumping Sam. They just say she's dumped him through exposition.
Well, what they should have done was actually just recast the character rather than change the character.
Oh yeah,
like they had a new Michaela and just not had Megan Fox in the role. Have somebody else who looked similar and could act well, at least as well as Megan Fox, which doesn't say much. But
yeah,
rather than having a new character called Carly, although I did like Carly.
Yeah, that would have been more practical. I mean, Michael Bay clearly tried to prove that Rosie Huntington-Whiteley was just as hot, if not hotter than Megan Fox, when literally the first shot we see of her is her legs and her ass walking up the stairs. Michael Bay, you dirty guy, seriously. And
Netherlands.
Oh yeah.
Born Harbour rejoice.
Oh yeah. So yes, and the parts with Sam's job in Chicago, I didn't give a shit about. Even the cameo from John Malkovich couldn't save that part. Dempsey as the human villain. I'm like, why is there a human antagonist in a Transformers movie? That is just bizarre. Just have Sentinel Prime and the Decepticons be the villain. That would be way better.
Yeah.
And
ultimately, like, his alliance with them goes nowhere because, like, they don't give a shit about Patrick Dempsey. They don't care about him. Like, he's just somebody who, well, in their eyes, works for them. So, like, they don't really, like, they don't care. They don't give a fuck. So he's ultimately pointless.
yeah, he is totally unnecessary inclusion, and the Decepticons will eventually wipe him out like all the other humans, anyways. So there's no point him making an alliance with them.
I mean,
And
would you agree, David, as well?
Sorry, I was sorting something out. What did you say?
Like about Patrick Dempsey's character, Dylan, like him being pointless and his alliance with the Decepticons going nowhere.
Oh yeah, that was completely a waste of Patrick Dempsey. Like, just why include the character in general?
Yeah, he's a good actor. He did a good performance.
Yeah, he's a good actor, but like I said before, this series it gets in these actors. You know, whether they're just good or whether they're great actors, and they use them, and they don't do anything special with them.
I totally agree. Yeah, there are countless of great actors who aren't done justice here, and but for all this film's flaws, it still has all the tropes of a Michael Bay movie. But at least Michael Bay did correct some things from Transformers 2. At least Sam's parents are only in like two scenes, thank God, and we never see John Turturro's ass, thank God. And
we do see
dogs having. Oh yeah, we see John Turturro, but he's at least more tolerable here, and the dogs having sex are completely cut out. So thank the Lord. and so
there is like a sex joke scene in the bathroom. Well, in the toilets.
Or in the toilets at work. Oh yeah. Yeah, that was so unfunny and lame. But so overall, I will say Dark of the Moon is not great, but good. It's at worst meh, but at best pretty solid. It's definitely my second favorite movie in the franchise. So yeah, I am going to give it a surprising 7 out of 10. So Ollie, I'll
yeah.
You.
Well, Dark of the Moon. I actually watched this one earlier today, just because I wanted to rewatch all of them in prep for the new one, and obviously for this hangout. For me, actually, how Dark of the Moon. It's actually better than I remember it to be. It's not great, but it's a major improvement over the second one.
Definitely.
At least the premise is more engaging. The story is actually, well, I mean, it's not brilliant, but it's more intriguing than the second one. And I think it's probably one of the most interesting stories of the series. And,
I definitely say so. Yeah, when I looking at all of the movies, I'd argue that it is the most interesting out of the 5 films, just from the hook of it, everything with the moon landing. I found that really interesting going into the film.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of that, none of you two actually mentioned this. At the very beginning, we see a lot of archive footage of the moon landings and, like, during that time, what was happening during then. And I thought that was quite intriguing. I mean, they didn't explore the plot as well as I would have liked, but at least they sort of set it up. They grabbed your attention with it. But unfortunately, this movie follows in the same Michael Bay formula. God. I mean, Dark of the Moon, it's a very mixed bag. I think, again, the first hour is filler. It's, I don't give a fuck about Sam Witwicky getting a job. You pretty much exhausted anything else with that character that you have. To be fair, I mean, you can see the journey, you can see the progression of his character, how far he's come, you know, and that he's really made a leap for himself. He's done, you know, his role with the Transformers is done. I mean, I do like his emotional storyline in this movie and how he wants to matter. He just wants to be. He kind of regrets going back to a normal life. He wants to be with the Transformers, but obviously, you know, tensions mount. I mean, obviously, for behind the scenes, Megan Fox is now out of the picture, so we now have Rosie Huntington-Whiteley as Carly, his new girlfriend. I actually prefer her to Megan Fox. Sorry, Harry.
Oh, that's okay.
I just think she's a more likable character. And, I mean, her acting can be a bit wooden, but, you know, she's cast not because of her acting. She's cast because she's a model, because she's hot. And she is very hot. Although, surprisingly, I do believe that they have actually got a good chemistry. I believe their romance a lot more than Megan Fox and Shia LaBeouf.
Wow.
Yeah, I actually genuinely think some of the scenes they have are quite sweet. You know, and by the end of the movie, when they reunite, you know, I felt quite touched. I was like, oh, you know, that's quite sweet. You know, they've found each other, and you know, he's really found somebody who appreciates him, and you know, it doesn't come across as forced. And I think that was what Megan Fox's performance was in the second one, when she was confessing her love. She was like, I love you. I need you. Sam, please come back to me, Sam, please. But in this one, you know, obviously, I mean, there is still a bit of that. But, I mean, Carly is, she becomes a bit of a damsel in distress towards the second half. But I don't give a fuck about that. I'm not going to fault the movie for that, because that's, like, the least of the problems. But she was likable enough, and she didn't irritate me like Megan Fox did, and she was good to look at. I mean, yes, we were introduced to her through her rear end, but it's a Michael Bay trait. You just have to go with it. And yeah, again, the same problem as with all the other movies. The human characters are focused on way too much. Like I said, I don't care about Sam Witwicky's job. Like David said, the big actors that they get in for this movie, they're there to basically promote this movie and say, oh, look, we've got this person here. You should see this movie because we've got John Malkovich, we've got Frances McDormand. You know, it's used as a promo thing, you know. And
I also forgot to mention, they also have Leonard Nimoy in this film.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Sentinel Prime.
To be fair,
And he quotes Spock.
Yeah, he does. To be fair, he quoted himself, so I don't think that's too bad. I actually didn't mind that. It was a nice reference to Star Trek. To be fair, like, Leonard Nimoy was actually pretty good in the movie for what he had to do. He was pretty good. But the other two are wasted. Like, Frances McDormand is actually quite good, I think, in her role. But John Malkovich is his character. He's unnecessary. He doesn't really add anything to the story. He's just there. Like, especially when he comes to the house with the information, and he's like, "Can I have a look, please, just one time?" And you know, I don't know. It's obnoxious. The humor, whilst it's not as over the top as Revenge of the Fallen, it's still there, and it still can be kind of annoying. I mean, I used to laugh at the toilet sex joke, but yeah, it's a bit cringy. It's like, oh god, why did they do that? And that Chinese guy, Chinese American guy who dies, he was probably one of the more annoying characters in this movie. Other than that, the characters are actually pretty decent in this movie. The parents are thankfully reduced to cameos, and which is what they should have been throughout all three of the movies. But
I'll say,
if you absolutely had to include the parents, if there was no other way, if you had to include them, then 2 scenes is more than enough. You know, that's fine. And luckily, what they do in this movie is nothing compared to the second film. So, you know, there's a nice scene when Sam says, "Oh, you know, I have to go rescue Cully," and she's like, you know, having a family meeting, and then you know they say, "Oh, do you love this girl?" And he says, "No, she's the one." You know, then you got to go and get her, and it's quite nice. Even though Sam having a new girlfriend obviously makes the first 2 movies completely redundant, but because at the end of the day, you don't watch these movies for the romance stuff. You watch it for the Transformers. Thankfully, the Transformers are in this movie more than they are in the second film, and they actually contribute. And the story this is probably the most involvement they've had in the actual plots or maybe the last night, but I'm not really sure. I can't remember. Yes, the action is sort of saved till the second half. But there's an action scene at the beginning with the worm thing, and then halfway through there's a freeway chase, which I think is really cool. There's those weird Decepticons with like dreadlocks. Is that just me? They just look really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the final battle, which is way too long. It goes on for an hour. It's like bloody hell. Like you could reduce this down. The movie's too long. It's 2 hours 34 minutes. There is no way you needed to let it run for that long. As much as I enjoy the action, you know, there's only so much of it you can take in one hit. Although I think there are some impressive pieces of stunt work here, like when the soldiers dive out of the helicopter and they're flying down through the city. That was cool. And also when the worm thing destroys the glass building, then they have to slide out of the windows. That was really exciting. There are some exciting action scenes. It is spectacular. It is as spectacular as you like. But it's just, there's too much of it. And also, I agree with Harry, what he said in his review. Like, the antagonists, I mean, Shockwave, what was the point of him? He just did nothing. Like,
yeah, he's wasted, and he got killed off way too easily.
Yeah, and he says one line in the movie, Optimus, at the very beginning. You think, oh, okay, we're going to see this guy again, but yeah, we see him again, but he doesn't do jack shit. So,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, and as much as I like Patrick Dempsey in his role, he does play the role really well. He's probably one of the best performances of the movie as Dylan. I mean, his character's basically just a prick, and his alliance with the Decepticons goes nowhere. Because surely he'd think, oh, they're just going to kill him anyway. Like, there's nothing to be gained from him out of it. Like, he says, oh, I want 40 more years. It's like, well, what? It doesn't make sense. Like, what? How does he get a longer life from this? Like, what? Oh, well, again, I have to switch my brain off for that because not much of that makes sense. And I like the tension between him and Sam. That was good. I do feel like Sam's really come on a long journey, and by this movie, he's matured. He knows what he wants. He knows what he wants in life. He's trying to find his purpose in life, and he's trying to, you know, find his responsibilities. So in that sense, I really appreciate the character development in this movie, and you know, the scene with him and Carly when she's about to go to have dinner with Dylan. And she said, you know, he says, I just want to matter. And she says, you matter to me. That's actually some decent dialogue. You know, that's not actually too bad. The script is actually competent compared to the second one. It's competent. And, you know, they have some nice moments in their relationship. You can actually, I can see a chemistry there, and I can see that she really does, she's really fond of him, and he's really fond of her. And, you know, but obviously his heart is set on the Transformers as well. Not in the romantic sense, but the fact that he's longing to go back and help them, and he misses that. I don't know if it's the thrill of being with them and sort of being caught up in the adventure. So I guess, you know, I like that story, and I like that Michael Bay actually tried to give him some kind of emotional send off. And the end of the movie, even though it's very abrupt, it's good enough. It's good enough. You know, they reunite. You know, again, Optimus Prime gives his speech. But, you know, you feel like Sam has finally come full circle. There's no more that you can do with this character. He's done. He's done. Like, again, I know I'm repeating myself, but it's the same movie 5 times. The cinematography, visual effects, and CGI are all astounding. And, you know, it looks great. It's one of the best looking of the series, I think. Again, hit and miss comedy. The comedy's better, but not great. Sometimes the pacing can sag a little bit in the first hour. It can drag on occasions, and the final battle, oh god, it's too long. But it's not as long as the Age of Extinction final battle. My goodness.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that whole movie was a final battle. But anyway, we'll get to that in a minute.
Age of Extinction we'll get on to.
Yeah, exactly what David said. But you know, it is better. I don't think it's as good as the first one, because the first one was simpler, and you know, it relied on that, and it didn't need. It worked because it was simple. This one is a little bit more complex than the first one, and it's longer as well, so it's harder to sit through. I do like Sentinel Prime. He was a good antagonist. He's probably one of the strongest antagonists of the series, to be honest.
Definitely.
And it's always nice to hear Leonard Nimoy.
It is. The only thing I don't get, though, is Optimus Prime gets his arm broken at the end of this movie. In the fourth one, how does he grow it back?
Oh, yeah.
How does someone, like...
That's a good point, actually. I haven't thought of that.
I know that Cade repairs him in the fourth one, but his arm was there when Cade found him. So I thought, hang on, that doesn't make sense. But there's no point questioning every little detail because Michael Bay probably would just say "fuck you" to it. So, okay, I'll just pass that off. I don't know what else to add really. I mean, the song "Iridescent" is good by Linkin Park. It's nice. They wanted to go for a more emotional song. They probably thought it was going to be the last one, but obviously Michael Bay decided to do two more. But you know, for all its problems, Start to the Moon, it's a fun watch. And at least Megatron had a purpose to be in the movie. The only thing I didn't like was him destroying the statue of Abraham Lincoln. I thought that was a bit disrespectful. But yeah, and you know, John Turturro was good in the scenes he was in, and you know, it was good, and it rounded off Sam's story really nicely. But beyond that, there's not much else to say really. It's more of the same. So I'm going to give it a pass. I'll give it a marginal pass at 6 out of 10. You know, I can enjoy it, but I don't think it's anything grand. It's not as good as the first. So yeah, now we move away from Shittlebed and we journey to Mark Wahlberg. Where we begin with Transformers: Age of Extinction, and never has a film been more appropriately named. So, David, what would you like to say on Age of Extinction?
It's not as good as Free Guys.
Oh, fuck!
But yeah, with this film, Michael Bay. Before this film, the Transformers movies that came out every 2 years.
Is it fair to say that Michael Bay ejaculated when making this film?
I think that might be true. But yeah, but before this film, the Transformers movies came out like every 2 years. So
yeah,
the Dark and the Moon came out 2011, and this one came out 2014. So they have 3 years to make 3 years to make this movie, and you know, in some cases, you may think, you know, 3 years, that's an extra year. You know, they've had more time to think this through. Well, yeah, yeah, not really. But if anything, it was more so sorting out contracts. Because Michael Bay, at first, he wasn't going to make this movie, and then he decided, oh yeah, I'm going to make this movie now. I like money.
Yeah. And then Shia LaBeouf decided to bow out, I think.
Yeah, Shia LaBeouf didn't return for this film either. So, you know, you bring in Mark Wahlberg, you bring in the girl from The Last Airbender, and
Nicola Peltz, I think her name is.
Yeah, and you also bring in Jack Rayner, who's went on to be in better films since here. But yeah, so it's an entirely new cast, really, except for the Transformers themselves, because you've got Peter Cullen returning as Optimus. And this, you know, when you really think about it, they could have really said that this was a reboot. They really could have done something like that with this
In
film.
some ways, it does feel like it, but obviously it references Dark of the Moon, so it is a sequel. But in a way,
yeah, it's still a big part of the film. Because they're dealing with the aftermath in this film. The Transformers are on the run. Which, to be honest, I found that, I don't want to say effective, because after the...
I think intriguing is more the word.
Yeah, intriguing, because after the three previous films, as much as I thought the first one was all right, I can't exactly say that I cared too much when I saw them getting shot down, but I was definitely intrigued. But in this one, you know, I think it really says a lot when they put more thought and effort into explaining the Romeo and Juliet lore than the actual plot of the film. I really do think that this plot is very messy and obnoxious.
This for me, this is the worst plot of the series. Transformium. Yeah, right.
Don't get me started. That is
See,
horrible. That's up there with in a what do they call it in Avatar? In
Eutalalium.
I thought it was something like you know, unobtainium.
Unobtainium, sorry, yeah.
Yeah. That's up there with that. That's awful. But you know, in this film, the product placement is at an all-time high. You know, you literally stop a scene for Mark Wahlberg just to, you know, open up a Bud Light and then just drink it. You know, the scene literally pauses just for him to do that. But yeah, like I was saying, I think this plot's really messy, and I don't even really. I think Mark Wahlberg is a more engaging presence than Shia LaBeouf. Like, you believe Mark Wahlberg is a leading man,
yeah.
whereas I think Shia LaBeouf is more of a character actor.
Yeah.
But you know, I don't believe Mark Wahlberg as an inventor. I think we just found a transformer.
Yeah, he's
But
he looks like he's like trying to be a. I don't believe him as a dad either in this movie.
yeah, neither do I. Especially when his daughter is wearing those shorts, and you know, I don't know how old Nicola Peltz was during the filming of this film.
She looks about 20.
She was probably over 21 because I know that's the legal age in America. But you know, in this film, they treat her pretty much the same way as they treat Megan Fox and Rosie Huntington-Whiteley. You know, you've still got one of those shots where it's just lingering on them, and it's really awkward to look at.
Yeah, it's also because her dad says it as well. It's like, your shorts are shrinking by the second. You're like, exactly. Why do you have that shot?
It's creepy. And you know, like I said, they established that she's got an older boyfriend in this film, and you know, they really do put more thought and depth into the Romeo and Juliet lore.
Her boyfriend was the most annoying character.
Yeah, you know, they actually bring up like, you know, the lore itself, like the boyfriend's got a note or something with it on, from what I remember, to show Mark Wahlberg. It's ridiculous, you know. Why do that? And you know, he has to gain Mark Wahlberg's trust, I guess. Which you know is it's ridiculous. Like, I understand that they want to humanize the characters, but you know,
there's been more than enough of that so far. That's all they've ever done.
This is the fourth film, and I know these are new characters, but people really just want to see robots fighting other robots. Now, they prefer a good plot as well, but you know, ultimately that's what.
Don't worry, they get the robots hitting each other.
Yeah. And you know, you've got Stanley Tucci in this movie. What's Stanley Tucci and Kelsey Grammer doing in this movie?
Picking up their paychecks.
Yeah, that's true. But you know, it's just baffling to me that, you know, they'd want to be involved with these movies. Kelsey Grammer, like, what's he on in this movie?
I remember I saw an interview with him when like the guy asked him, "What attracted you to this project?" He said, "Well, these movies are epic," and yeah, I was like, "My God, really? Epic? Is that the right word to use?"
It's not how I would describe it. If I were to use one word, it would not be that. But yeah, you've even got Kelsey Grammer fighting Mark Wahlberg.
Well, he is a beast.
What the hell? Well, that's true.
Yeah.
But what the hell? Mark Wahlberg. I believe that Mark Wahlberg, if he really wanted to, I believe that he could beat up a bunch of people, and
Yeah,
yet
he's not intimidated by anyone.
And yet in the fight with Kelsey Grammer, you know, it's as though Kelsey Grammer, you know, he's like a proper. I don't want to say like a proper fighter, but you know, he's like as though he's established fighting in a way. Because you know, the fight between the two of them, it's not easy going for Mark Wahlberg like you think it would be.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just find this movie baffling because when you really think about it, um, I brought up when we were talking about the first film that I think that the first Transformers movie has better special effects in it than some of the others. This was one of the others. I don't think the special effects are as refined as they should be in this film.
Maybe because there's so much of it. And also, speaking of that, there's a scene towards the beginning when there's green screen that they haven't keyed out.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That's stupid. Like,
how did you miss that? Michael Bay, like the guy who's great at visual effects, misses that. Oh,
yeah, and the fact that they were given more time with this, I say given. Michael Bay probably did the release schedule, but you know they had more time with this film, and yet it doesn't look as good as the other films. It's not as
probably
well.
the one with the most wasted potential.
It's got the most wasted potential by far, in my opinion. Well, out of the ones that I've seen, I haven't seen The Last Night yet. So you know, maybe The Last Night is even worse. I'll find out in a minute. Um, but yeah, I also think that the fact that they promoted the Dinobots so much in the
Oh,
marketing material for this movie,
they suck.
and then to make you wait so long for the Dinobots only to disappoint you.
Yeah, they're in like the last 10 minutes.
It's crazy. But
I mean, Harry, were you annoyed as well by that?
Yeah, I was fucking livid by that. I wasted my money on that.
it's in some ways I think that's worse than Revenge of the Fallen, and in other ways I'm not sure. So in terms of score, I give it in the same margin of like a 3 or a 2. Like that's where I'd put Revenge of the Fallen, like a 2 or a 3. I'm not a fan of either of the films. I think they're wasted potential. I don't think that they deserved to make all the money that they made. But at least when it comes to like the US box office, at least with this one, they grossed less money. It's really the international box office that really let the film down because they made a lot of money internationally.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll move on now to Harry.
Oh, well.
With every expectation of a rant, what did you think of Age of Extinction?
Well, Ollie, it's an even-numbered Transformers movie, so this movie should be erased and go extinct as soon as possible, because this movie fucking sucks. Oh, my goodness.
Brilliant.
If you thought Revenge of the Fallen was bad, You ain't seen nothing yet. Michael Bay, he stopped caring with this one. He doesn't give a fuck about this series at this point anymore. The only reason this movie exists, well, it's a completely pointless film. It was made for no reason apart from money. Just because Dark of the Moon made $1 billion and was the highest grossing of the original trilogy, Michael Bay decided, you know what? I did say Dark of the Moon was the last, but I'll lie. I'll just make a 4 for no fucking reason and waste your precious time again. This is the exact same damn movie as the first 3. It's a complete rehash. You know, you've got the backstory with the Transformers coming to Earth in the past, and the bullshit with the human characters, the fucking military, and the big overblown city battle at the end. We've seen it all before. This movie has no story at all. It has even less plot than Revenge of the Fallen. My God. And
that's saying a lot.
Yeah, that is saying a lot. I can't not believe that this movie turned out.
Well, at least Shia LaBeouf wasn't in it.
Yeah, at least Shia LaBeouf didn't return, because they concluded his story in Dark of the Moon. But Mark Wahlberg, I know a lot of people really praise him in this movie and The Last Night, but I don't like Mark Wahlberg. I think he's miscast here, and we don't need any fucking human characters in this film. They're nobody asked for them, and you know, and Nicola Peltis as his daughter. I mean, I think she was 19 actually at the time.
Oh, Nicola Peltz.
Nicola Peltz, yeah, that's her name. I think she was 19 at the time, and she was, of course, in The Last Airbender. And while she is...
Bugger me!
Yeah, at least she's slightly better here than in The Last Airbender, because The Last Airbender...
I'm not leaving my dad!
Oh, yeah.
Don't you just love the scene when, you know, she's captured and she's in the net? And then, like, her dad is climbing up, and then he's like, Tessa, break the glass! And she's just tapping it.
That is so freaking ridiculous and over the top. I mean, yeah, the movie treats her as a complete damsel, gives her no girl power at all, and she's, again, eye candy. Dear Michael Bay, women can have personality as well as look hot. There is literally more shots of her ass and her legs throughout the film, and I don't buy the father and daughter relationship for a second. I mean,
he looks too young to be her dad.
Yeah, pretty much. He looked like he was 15 when he had her or something, and just
probably.
Yeah,
Mark Wahlberg's about,
I'll say, and he's
mid-40s. I think Mark Wahlberg's mid-40s.
Yeah, he looks good for his age.
So I think that the age isn't a problem really, but I get what you mean.
Yeah, yeah, totally, and he's
you're a fucking whore.
Oh yeah, and yeah, he's just a fucking douchebag to his daughter. He just yells at her all the time. Yeah, exactly, and her boyfriend, he was the most fucking annoying.
Why was he in it?
Yeah, great. Yeah, why was he in it? He did nothing. You could have erased him from the movie completely.
Because you needed a Romeo and Juliet subplot.
Yeah.
Romeo worked right there, Romeo. And he was Irish as well.
As if we haven't seen a over-dramatic romance in these movies before.
No, we've never seen that. We've never seen that.
And...
Shut up. There's no sex in this movie.
Yeah. And just like David said, we continue to have great actors like Kelsey Grammer and even Stanley Tucci, who are so appallingly treated and written. It's unbelievable.
Oh, don't forget TJ Miller.
Oh, yeah, he's in this movie as well, isn't he?
Plays Lucas, the guy that gets killed at the beginning.
Oh,
yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
TJ Miller, no.
He was annoying in this movie.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, he was grading to behold. Of just these human characters, they are terrible. I didn't give a shit about any single one of them. At least
Oh, so you didn't like Cade?
I'm afraid not. None of them. I mean, at least in the original trilogy, I liked a couple of them, but none of them here. And why the fuck did they change the design of Optimus Prime? I did not see any reason for them to change his look. He looked absolutely fine in the first 3 films. I mean, he looks retarded here, I think. Yeah, in fact, oh god, and Optimus Prime again. They market him on the poster as the main character, but there's hardly any of him in this film, and
he's probably in it a little bit more than he is in the first 2.
Oh, yeah, probably a little more, even if that doesn't say much, of course. And just the whole backstory about the Transformers coming to Earth at the time of the dinosaurs. By the way, the dinosaurs look like fucking shits. I did not believe those were.
They look awful.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's weird how in all of the movies there's always a point in history where Transformers have come down. So they're just across history now. Like
and yet somehow in the first movie we had no idea about them.
Yeah.
That just shows that
Michael Bay trying to say the human race are thick-heads. Are we thick? Where did we miss the trick? You know?
We're not stupid. We would have noticed them throughout history. That just shows how desperate Michael Bay is for ideas to continue these movies. He's running out of them, and the dinosaurs they look like shit, especially compared to the awesome, beautiful-looking dinosaurs in the Jurassic Park films. There's no excuse for
welcome to Jurassic Park.
Oh yeah, Transformers.
I want to see a film with the T-Rex from Jurassic Park versus Optimus Prime.
Oh, that would be so cool. That would be a better movie, actually.
That would actually be better than 2-hour, 45-minute bore fest that we got for this movie.
Oh yeah, leagues better. And
I remember when David actually was about to watch this. I think we spoke on Skype before you watched it, and then 3 hours later you came back to me. You were like, God, it was terrible.
It was, and you know what? I've just been thinking about the series. That there's something special that Michael Bay does. The actors that he gets in movies, he gets respectable actors and makes them look like fools. He gets
apart from
really attractive young actresses and, objectifies them in his films. And then when he gets comedic talent in his films, he makes them annoying.
Yeah, his writers are terrible as well. I think Michael Bay takes over the writing as well. I don't know. I mean, this is just an assumption. I have a feeling that the writers don't get creative freedom. I think that Michael Bay sticks his oar in and says, no, it's got to be this, it's got to be this, it's got to be that.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly how it goes. Oh, yeah, he hired some of the worst writers ever, like Aaron Kruger for 2 and 3, and he just his fingerprints are listers all over this movie. Just and
what stains have been squirted.
And
I love it in Jeremy Jones's review of this movie where he talks about it.
Yeah, when he says 2.5 hours of a Michael Bay wet dream.
Yeah.
Oh, exactly. Definitely, and it's I absolutely hate the runtime of this movie. The motherfucking runtime.
Oh my god!
Longest in the series. It's 2 hours 45 minutes. Why is it nearly 3 hours?
David, you thought the third one was slow. You haven't seen nothing yet.
Oh my god!
Yeah, this movie's incomprehensibly long and draggy as fuck. I was beyond bored.
It just never ends.
Yeah,
It just keeps going and going and going and going.
Never know when the climax is. There's like 108 different climaxes.
Exactly. There's no. It's not even clear what's the final battle. The whole movie seems to be the final battle. Oh, the runtime just gave me so much pain. Oh yeah,
So, is Michael Bay a fan of KSI the YouTuber?
He could be.
Because there's a KSI company in this movie. I wonder if that was taken from the YouTuber KSI.
Oh, actually, it could have been.
Might have been.
So KSI contributed to Age of Extinction. Oh,
Yeah.
Learn something new. Yeah. The CGI is utter garbage. This is one of the fakest looking blockbusters I have seen in the past decade.
Oh, Harry, there's actually a moment with the CGI where about an hour, I think it's an hour into the movie, when the Autobots storm KSI. They like they burst through the doors and they walk through the barriers, and it's like what? The CGI, it just lets them go through the metal barriers that should actually destroy when they walk past. But no, they were so lazy they didn't bother to add.
Oh, that's funny.
That's disgraceful. It's so
just as bad as the green screen that they didn't key out in the beginning.
Yeah,
it just says everything. It just says everything about the film.
And Michael Bay as a director.
Yeah, but this is when Michael Bay is at his lowest low as a filmmaker. This is just the whole film looks like the entire film. In fact, looks like a green screen. It's unbelievable. It's so horrifically badly rendered, and even Mark
Wahlberg was CGI.
Yeah, even he was.
It wouldn't surprise me.
I know, right? That explains how he keeps surviving these disasters without a scratch in the film.
Yeah. Again, like Sam in the previous movie, Cade is also a Superman as well as an inventor.
Yeah, Michael Bay.
I've just remembered. Doesn't he pick up like a massive gun and it shrinks to his size or something?
How freaking convenient.
That was stupid.
And again,
I know, right?
In every single movie, there's an object they have to find. First one, Allspark. Second one, Matrix. Third one, Pillars, I guess. And fourth one, the Seed. What the fuck is the Seed? And why the fuck do they need it? What does it do? And the fifth one is a staff. It's like, it's the same film.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, Harry. But yeah.
Well, it's okay. I agree. And all objects don't really amount. They don't amount to anything pretty much. And but worst of all, the motherfucking Dino bots.
Oh no!
Talk about a waste of potential. I mean, the Dinobots were marketed in the trailers to be the coolest thing in the movie, and they only appear in the third act for.
That was what actually drew me to go and watch the movie, as well as the change in cast. I thought, you know what, I'll go and see Transformers 4 because the Dinobots will be cool. And that they were only in the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's a total rip-off. I demand a fucking refund for that. And I just wasted my money on over 2 hours of bullshit waiting for these guys to show up. And when they finally do show up, that's it? What? Michael Bay? I mean, yeah, you totally tricked us. You had us fooled into thinking they would actually do something.
You bloody bastard.
Yeah. I know, right? And the final battle in Hong Kong, it's
which one? There's like 50 of them.
Yeah, just 50. Michael Bay, he didn't even try to explain which one. I couldn't tell who the fuck was who. I knew how it was going to be resolved. I knew the Autobots would win because this is 4 movies in that we've had this climax.
By the way, one fun fact: one of the Autobots is actually one of the new ones. He's voiced by John Goodman. I think he's called Hound.
Really?
Yeah, and he's got
He's the big fella. Yeah.
He's got like a cigar.
Yeah, he's the one with the cigar, the
He's
big
got a
fella.
Transformers cigar.
Yeah.
John Goodman. Another great actor
Yeah.
who they.
He's actually pretty good, to be fair. And he's also in the fifth one as well.
Well, yeah, at least gone. Well, yeah, at least he did try. But and just and the end credit song "Imagine Dragons."
Oh,
it's so freaking terrible. It
sucks.
yeah, it totally sucks. It
Ooh, one more time.
oh my ears are bleeding.
I couldn't believe it when I watched it in the cinema. I was like, "Where are Linkin Park?"
Yeah,
I
brilliant.
didn't ask for this shit. Oh,
We
I had to
want
leave straight away. I was like, "I'm not watching the credits for this song."
oh thank God, wise decision. We want fucking Linkin Park back, Mr. Bay. And is there any good in this movie? None. It's impossible
What
to
about the
find it.
visuals?
I thought the visuals looked like shit pretty much.
Oh,
I thought they were
the music score.
music. I don't even. Well, that horrible Imagine Dragons song. It really brought the soundtrack down. And as for the other music, I it completely forgettable. I didn't remember it. So yeah, I think this movie actually has zero redeeming qualities. Yeah, this is the second worst Transformers movie in my opinion. I was absolutely gobsmacked that the series could actually get worse than this. I'm like, and it's disgraceful that this movie came out in summer 2014, a year of great blockbusters. Why would anybody waste their time and money going to see this shit when they could have gone and seen The Apes and How to Train Your Dragon 2, infinitely better movies, which is why I am giving this piece of shit a complete 0 out of 10. Second 0 out of 10 for these movies. So, Ollie, give your epic rant on this atrocity.
Oh, sorry, that was hilarious. Oh, Harry, you make me laugh.
What a ledge! What a ledge!
Yeah, I mean, Age of Extinction was the first time I went to watch a Transformers movie, and I generally thought, "Oh dear, okay, yeah, right." I mean, I've always said I've had a soft spot for these movies. The first three, I enjoyed them as fun action romps, nothing more. I switched my brain off. Ensues. With this, no. I mean, the only thing that drew me to this movie, again, as I said, was the change of cast and also the Dinobots. So I thought, okay, they're doing something a little bit different. No, it's the same fucking movie that we've seen the first three times.
Exactly.
Rinse and repeat.
Yeah, pretty much. Look, I don't think it's a 0 out of 10. You know, I don't think it's that bad, but for me, it's my least favorite of the series, purely because the story is shit. It is the weakest story by far. Like, none of it makes sense. It's so convoluted, and it's dumb. Transformium? Give me a fucking break. Really? Oh my god. I mean, that aside, we have other aspects to the story, like the whole father-daughter relationship, which is something a bit different to what we saw in the first three. So I'm kind of glad they ditched Shia LaBeouf because, or he decided to bow out because his character was done. Sam Witwicky, if Sam Witwicky was in this movie, that would have been terrible. It would have made it even worse. I actually quite like Mark Wahlberg as Cade Yeager. Again, I don't really buy him as an inventor, but you know, that's the least of the problems. I think he's a compelling lead, and you know, you really root for the guy. He's a real hero. He's an action man, and he calls to arms when the time is needed, and you can tell he's a devoted father. So I like that aspect of his character. But that's not enough to save the movie. I mean, his daughter, played by Nicola Peltz, again, she's objectified. Not the other two, but still a little bit.
That's probably just because of her age, though.
Yeah, she's young as well. She's the youngest one. I think she's about 20 or 22. So, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. She's hot. She's hot. But again, it's the same problem. And her boyfriend, why the fuck was he in the movie?
Yeah.
He was not needed whatsoever. And I didn't really believe their relationship. And yeah, the whole Romeo and Juliet thing being forced. Oh, God. God's sake. Oh, how many times have we seen like the flipping overprotective father, have it, when he's like, oh, you two, I don't approve of this guy. You can't be together. He finds out that they're together, and then by the end, he's like his family now. It's like, oh yeah, saw that coming from a mile away. I mean, you have big actors in this movie. This movie has even bigger actors than like Dark of the Moon did. You have Stanley Tucci. Oh, bless him. It's so sad to reduce to such a low level. And Kelsey Grammer. I mean, Kelsey Grammer's bearable in this movie. He plays his part well enough. Sophia Myles is also in this movie. None of you two mentioned her. She plays a scientist who's randomly in the movie for whatever. She's quite cool. And TJ Miller's in the movie very briefly. I don't get. He was annoying. Like, why? I mean, I kind of like the Transformers here. That they all get quite a lot to do, more so than some of the others. But that doesn't really mean that it's good. Like, they're involved, and there's like the whole road trip kind of plot with Cade and his daughter and her boyfriend, and they're all kind of having to run away from the government. So, like David said, the continuation or the aftermath of Dark of the Moon, it's intriguing in that sense, but it doesn't mean it's good. It just means
not
it's
at all.
Yeah. Visually, here's the thing. I really still like the effects. But again, they're not as polished. And the most insulting thing is the green screen at the very beginning that they didn't key out, which I thought was ridiculous. How could you miss that? Like, this just shows that Michael Bay doesn't care anymore. He's just like, fuck it, I'm just making the same movie again. And also the moment when they run through the barriers at KSI, I was like, what? Like, I mean, even a 12-year-old would notice that on a big screen as well. I just sat there rolling my eyes. I thought, oh my God, this movie, I'm just done. This movie's dumb as well. The plot revolving the seed and, like, again, why do all the Transformers movies have to revolve around some kind of object? The first movie was fine. That was the first movie. That was the first one. It was the original one. It didn't need to worry about ripping off anything else. The second one, it was the Matrix. The third one, it was the sort of the pillars, but it was more than one, so it kind of was different. This is the seed, which does nothing. Why do they need it? What? No, it's never explained. It's never explained. Basically, the whole movie is a final battle. There is no story. The movie is a final battle. I mean, what the fuck is with this runtime? This movie is 45 minutes. That is way too long. I mean, fuck me. Dark of the Moon, that was long. But at least it moved at a better pace than this. I mean, yes, the final battle was an hour, but this final battle's even longer. My God. Michael Bay. He's trying
this,
to go...
This is a snail dragging weights.
Yeah.
So is. I mean, I like the action. It is well staged, but it loses its fun. It loses its entertainment value because there's so much of it. Like I said, I like the action, but not so much of it in one hit that it becomes heavy. It's heavy. This movie's too heavy going. You have to watch it in parts, otherwise you just find yourself falling asleep and finding it really difficult to follow it because it's just so huge. He tries too hard to be epic, and it's like, what the fuck? Cut 45 minutes out of this movie, and it would have been tolerable. This movie is so fucking long, and it just ends. I mean, it's even more abrupt to the ending than the third movie. They just stop the fight. Optimus Prime kills what's his name? It's not Grimlock.
Galvatron.
Galvatron. Yeah, that's the guy. Thank you. He kills Galvatron. They all reunite at the end. Optimus gives his speech, and then he goes into space. I'm coming for you. By coming, he means it in the other sense of the word. Just fuck it. What's the point? This movie makes no sense. I mean, you know, I genuinely thought that Michael Bay was trying to do something different, but no, it's the same film again and again. And you know, despite the new cast, I mean, I do like Mark Wahlberg. I'm not going to lie. I mean, there is quite an intense scene when the government come to his house and you know, they're trying to look for Optimus Prime, and then he bursts out of the shed. Even though the line he says is a bit cringy, "Here I am," but it was a pretty cool action scene. I'm not going to lie. I mean, and I do like the moment when Cade meets Optimus Prime. That was cool, you know, and he repairs him and he's all, "Cade Yeager, I am in your debt." You know, that was nice. So it's nice to see like Optimus Prime, well, sort of forming a bond with another human, but not really. Like, not as much as Sam Witwicky. Like, I mean, Cade is just there. Like, I like Cade, and he's a real action man. He takes charge. But there's one other scene with him and Optimus, like very briefly, when he says, "Oh, you gotta have faith, Prime. You know, you gotta have faith." But you don't. There's no need to get emotionally invested in any of this crap because it goes nowhere. Like I said, the John Goodman character is appreciated, and I do like him. He's funny. He's actually one of the funniest films of the film. The same Michael Bay tropes, you know, the girl being over-sexualized, the big action, the big explosions. I mean, it's fucking... It's like an orgy of explosions for 2 hours, 45 minutes. You know, just stick this thing on Pornhub and be done with it, because what's the point? You know, we've all seen this before. And, you know, just with different characters, different human characters. Again, too much focus on the human characters, but it was a kind of along with them for the movie. I'll give it the movie that. For me, even though Revenge of the Fallen is more over the top, I get more enjoyment out of that because at least there's, you know, there's stuff happening. You know, the action is a bit more fun. It's not as in your face as this one. This is constant. It just never ends. It just doesn't know when to stop. Like I said, the film has like 2,000 different climaxes. And, you know, it's a snail. It drags on and on. It is so long. It is so...
Michael Bay actually promised this one would be the shortest, but he completely lied, obviously, making it the longest.
I don't believe a word that man said.
Funny, that. That's
funny. Yeah. I mean, cock, basically. I don't believe a word that man says. It's just so... Like I said, it's so heavy, it's so hard to get through. You don't believe in any of the characters. I make a slight exception for Cade. He's genuinely brave, and you know, there's a couple of good physical fights. Again, I mean, the technical side of things are starting to slip slightly. I also think that some of the shaky cam is unneeded. Like, there's a couple of physical Cade and the guy, and Cade and Kelsey Grammer, which was cool, but you know, it's a Transformers movie. I want to see robots fighting, not Transformers fighting, but not, you know, I mean, the whole stuff with the technology with the Transformium would have been interesting, but don't call it Transformium. That's such a dumb name. God, I mean, it's the one with the most wasted potential because you have a new cast, you have a sort of intriguing premise with the technology. It's the most sort of futuristic of the Transformers movies. And it could have been sort of intriguing. If it was at least as good as Dark of the Moon, I would have been happy. But it's way worse. It's way worse. You know what? The Transformers movies so far have been like the Star Trek movies. The odd ones are the better ones, and the even ones are the not so good ones. I mean, you know, and you know, the song by Imagine Dragons is a fucking disaster. I mean, I think it's called Battle Cry, and you know, I mean, the intro is kind of weird and haunting, like the "ooh, just one more time," ooh. And yeah, you hear it quite a few times, and you hear it when Cade is trying to help Optimus Prime defeat Galvatron. I think that's his name. I keep forgetting that one's name. Yeah, and Optimus has got the sword stuck in the thing, and his daughter jumps and they get the sword out of the thing, and Optimus Prime and stabs him. I mean, you know, and he's shouting at him like, "Cade, oh, just one more time." It's a mess. It's such a mess, and it ends so abruptly. Like I said, after the huge like battle, which takes up so much of the runtime, it just ends. It's like, oh, after all that, we needed to slowly ease out of it, not rush it. It was like, okay, wrap it up, credits, and exactly like when he flies off in space at the end, he goes, "I'm coming for you." It's like, yeah, well, we're not going to come for you. We're not going to see any more of this. Although I did see the 5th one, so that makes me a hypocrite. But there's nothing I can say really. I mean, Michael Bay lost all faith in the guy. I actually didn't think people should have criticized him as much with the first 3, but for this one, I totally get it now. I totally see why people have such a thing against him. He just doesn't learn. I mean, he may when he feels like it choose to listen to the people that criticize his movies, but generally speaking, he has complete creative freedom, and I think it shows, and he takes advantage of that. Here, it's not too bad, but it's not great either. I mean, like Stanley Tucci's annoying, T.J. Miller's annoying. I do quite like Bumblebee in this movie. Bumblebee's quite fun. And they changed his design as well. Like when he transforms into the Camaro, he's got like a black overcoat painted on him. It looked a bit weird. Was that just me? Or
yeah.
And also, like, there's so much filler. Like on when Tessa, I think her name is his daughter, gets captured. Like I said, when he's running to jump on the net, and he's like, "Break the glass," and she's tapping it like so lightly. And then when they get on and then when they get on the ship and they have to cross over the huge wire, it's just like, come on, just get on with it. And again, the Bud Light thing as well, like you said, shameless product placement, shameless. And I couldn't give a fuck about the climax. I couldn't care who gets hit by who anymore. But I was actually invested in Sam Witwicky's stories in the first 3. But this, I like Cade Yeager as a character, but I'm not invested in the story. So I didn't care what was going on. It's a mess. It's a pretty mess. And I've only watched it a couple of times. I don't have a compelling reason to go back to it. But thankfully for me, the next one was a major improvement over this. So I'm going to give Age of Extinction a 4 out of 10.
Ooh.
I don't think it's a complete fail, but it is a fail. And for me, it's the weakest of the series so far. I doubt the series, the new one. So anyway,
can I just bring up?
Yeah.
Right. So discussing about Nicola Peltz and how old she was, I was really interested to see the different ages of the female leads. So I looked them up. Megan Fox was 20 in the first Transformers movie when they were filming.
She's 10 years older than me. Oh, that's weird.
And Rosie Huntington Whiteley, she's 30 now. So when she was cast, she would have been like 23 when she was cast.
Yeah.
And when they were filming Age of Extinction, Nicola Peltz was actually 18 years old.
Oh wow, yeah, she definitely looks around that. And Laura Haddock, who's in the 5th one, she's about 30, I think.
Yeah, she's actually she plays Star-Lord's mother in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, that's it. I never knew that.
Yeah.
So why did she decide to do Transformers? I'll never know. Anyway,
they killed their character off in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah, I guess she needed some more money. Anyway, so moving on. We're not finished yet. We've got one more. Obviously, David hasn't yet seen it, so if you've watched the trailer, you can give a sort of non-review, like a what you think it's going to be like, and then maybe rate the trailer out of 10, I guess. So, Transformers: The Last Night, which is not the last movie. Don't be fooled by the title.
Unfortunately. But no, so I haven't watched the movie yet. So I can only go by what I've seen in the trailers. And in all honesty, when it comes to the Transformers movies, they tend to have pretty good trailers. You know, they get you at least interested in the movies. But to be honest, none of the trailers really grabbed me for this movie. It was more so a few
Because you've
ideas.
seen it all before, like with the first four movies.
Yeah, and I wasn't real even just, you know, like removing myself from the previous four entries in the series, just watching the trailers alone, nothing ever really grabbed me about it. Especially after Age of Extinction. But what interested me at least was how they were gonna, you know, establish like everything with the Transformers, you know, throughout history, like with the Knights of the Round Table, with World War II. I was interested in how they were gonna do that. But as I said before, the problem with that is that in the first movie, no one knew about them. So they've already kind of dug themselves into a hole there, which
Yeah,
they also
continuity.
kind of dug into themselves with Dark of the Moon, with the moon landing and everything. But
Yeah,
you know, going in with really low expectations because I was not excited for this movie at all. You know, none of the trailers grabbed me, and I even watched a clip with Anthony Hopkins in it, and I could be wrong. I only watched the clip once, but I've heard a lot of other people say this as well. I believe he said "dude" a bunch of times in a clip.
I think he says it. He definitely says it once, but I can't remember where he says it in the film.
This is Anthony Hopkins we're talking about. Sir Anthony Hopkins.
Well, he's enjoying himself.
What was he thinking? Did he hear that Patrick Stewart's going to be the poop emoji in the Emoji Movie or something? Was he like, oh yeah, I'm going to cash in on all of my talents and be in this Transformers movie and call Mark Wahlberg dude? You know, I'm going to have so much fun.
To be fair, Mark Wahlberg is,
you know, going to get a lot of money as well. You know, a good paycheck. So, you know, just going into the movie with lackluster trailers, you know, not really being excited for the film because of the previous films, not being a huge Michael Bay fan either. And considering that he's already said once before, oh, I'm not returning, and then he falls back on it.
yeah.
You know,
I don't actually believe that this is his last one. Although seeing the film, it did feel rather final, so it might be. But I never believe it until it is actually truly confirmed.
yeah, neither would I. So yeah, I just going into it, I'm not excited at all, and I don't know when I will see it, but it will be a long time off. And
Yeah.
what I've read and listened to in terms of reviews, I'm glad that I'm reserving my money for Baby Driver.
Fair enough. If I know this might not be relevant, but would you rate the trailer out of 10? And if so, what would you score it?
All right. The action sequence with Bumblebee and Optimus looked pretty cool. So I'm gonna give it a three. A three.
3 out of 10.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So, Harry, with every expectation of a rant or an extreme rant, would you like to please give us your thoughts on Transformers: The Last Night?
Oh, thanks, Ollie. Well, this is an odd-numbered Transformers movie, and they usually, I say usually, turn out best ones. In fact, have been the odd numbered. The even ones have always been the worst. So I wanted to like this one. I wanted it to be good. I tried with all my hardest to find something to like. But after coming out of it, why Michael Bay? Why? Fuck this movie. This is an extreme rant. This is
yes.
yes. This is in the worst of the 5 Transformers movies by far. It makes even Revenge of the Fallen and Age of Extinction watchable. I can't believe those words are coming out of my mouth. God, Michael Bay.
Right out of my mouth.
Exactly. Michael Bay, he tricked me and deceived me with that great trailer for the 3rd fucking time. I should have known better. I shouldn't have fallen for it. And boy, did I pay a great price.
If Revenge of the Fallen wasn't fallen enough for you.
Yeah, this. Yeah, if that's not fallen enough for you, I don't know what is. This is. This is. I mean, this is just shitty filmmaking 101. This is a new low. This is.
Whoever said it was a film.
It doesn't even deserve the title of film. This is
It's a trailer for toys. It's one long trailer for toys.
Yeah,
Part 5.
Exactly why it exists, to sell toys and make money. It's a soulless Hollywood product. It's not a movie with any heart whatsoever. It's the same fucking story as the previous 4. Just done so badly. And you know what, the nostalgia critic Doug Walker, he actually predicted the entire plot of this movie before he even seen it. And you know what,
near enough, not 100%, but he did mostly. Yeah,
not all of it, but he got at least 90% of the plot right before he'd even seen it. That's
brilliant. That's truly brilliant, and just shows how incredibly smart the filmmakers behind this series are.
Yeah. Maybe you don't need to see it then, David.
Yeah, apparently I don't. I just need to watch Nostalgia Critic.
Yeah, just watch his review. It's way more entertaining.
No, sorry, his non-review.
Oh yeah, his non-review. It's leagues more entertaining, leagues more informative, and you'll get a better experience, and you'll already know what happens.
And guess what, guys? It's shorter than the film.
Oh yeah,
2.5 hours long.
I'm shorter. This movie went on and on and on, despite being the second shortest in the series. It didn't feel.
Does it feel longer? Does it feel longer than the others?
Yeah, it does. It feels even longer than Age of Extinction. Yeah,
oh no.
Yeah, I was
genuinely worried that it was going to be 3 hours, but thankfully he cut it down by 15 minutes.
Yeah, at least he made it shorter, but so little of substance happens in the movie that it never won me over. It took every single ounce of willpower in me not to fall asleep, not to leave, not to explode with anger, and just
well, why not, Harry? I mean, Michael Bay has explosions in his films every 2 minutes.
Exactly. Yeah, true. Yeah, he's explosions. You can't have a Michael Bay movie without them. I mean, they're his trademark. I mean, the action in this film, it's nothing but a bunch of explosions. It's just boom, 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 and that bored the absolute living shit out of me. There's no flair to it. It's just fireworks. And the backstory with King Arthur and Merlin. How dare you disrespect King Arthur and Merlin? A great.
Is that Michael Bay saying "fuck you" to Guy Ritchie, who made the King Arthur movie?
Yeah, he's exactly saying "fuck you, Guy Ritchie. I can do something better with King Arthur." And
At least Guy
And
Ritchie
he's
had
made more money as well.
yeah.
yeah.
Well, actually, to be fair, Guy Ritchie had David Beckham in his King Arthur movie.
Oh, yeah. True.
Apparently, I've not seen the movie, but apparently he has a cameo.
And Jude Law. Jude Law's in it.
Oh
The
yeah.
future Dumbledore. Or rather past, I guess.
Yeah, a decent cast. But like Ollie said again, they have to throw in and force the fucking objects, the Merlin stuff. I mean, we don't need that. We honestly don't. And the King Arthur stuff, that's actually could have made for at least a decent movie, but it's only in the opening in a fucking montage. That 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 talk about deceiving trailers and the Dinobots, they only appear in the junkyard in the opening, and that's the only time we see them. They're even more wasted, and
They're used for comic relief.
yeah,
I think I read somewhere that they have like baby Dinobots or something as well.
They do
Yeah.
very briefly, yeah. In Cade's junkyard.
yeah, they're even. Oh yeah, they're just for comic relief. Michael Bay just destroyed them in the last night. They could have shown up for the final battle, but no.
I think they should have called this Transformers: The Last Straw.
Yeah, exactly, the last straw.
It may very well be. It's the lowest grossing of them all.
Yeah, I don't think that I don't see a future with this series anymore.
No.
As in, they've got Travis Knight in to direct Bumblebee, and he directed Kubo and the Two Strings. So that gives me a little bit of hope. But it's the same story team. It's the same. It's the same spoiled well.
It's
Like
Michael Bay.
poisoned well.
Michael Bay's still producing, I believe.
Exactly.
Oh God, help us all if that man still stays with this series. Michael Bay needs to fucking go. This is the third time he has made a disaster. We should not trust him anymore. He deserves to be punished for this Travis movie. He really does, and it's just.
He did say extreme rant, David.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah, that's very true.
oh yeah, and yeah, and the whole plot twist that Mark Wahlberg is the last knight. I did not make that up. That is the actual plot twist. That is worst plot twist ever.
Yeah,
Who's
it's like,
writing this shit?
why would they have an inventor known as Cade Yeager be the last knight? Like, what has Cade ever done constitute him being a knight?
He's done
You know,
nothing basically.
I think that fits in very well with the likes of, Arthur. Cade fits right in.
Yeah, exactly.
My RC does.
In fact, I'll get the Knights of the Round Table up, and I'll have a look at their names.
Don't tell me there's a knight called Cade.
No. I'm just saying, let's see how it fits in. Let's see how it fits in.
Absolutely, but to just have him connected to the Knights of the Round Table, really, and to have a human be the last knight. This is Transformers. It's not humans where Transformers show up, which is what this movie might as well have been called.
That's what this series is. Humans where Transformers show up.
Oh yeah, exactly. And Nicola Pentis, his daughter, we don't see her for some reason. They just say that she's gone off to college through exposition. Yeah, the whole dialogue is abysmal exposition.
To be fair, we didn't need her, to be honest.
Oh yeah, I guess her story was kind of done. But the girl that they market in the trailers that you think she's gonna serve an important role in the story, but she appears maybe twice, maybe.
Is this Isabella, the little girl?
Isabella. Yeah.
Oh yeah, she was pointless.
I know, right? She did fuck all. She had potential, but Michael Bay did absolutely nothing with her. What a crying shame. And the just and also the is just the worst I've seen all year. If this gets an Oscar nomination, that will piss me off. And the whole thing with Optimus Prime turning evil, which they showed in the trailers to trick people into seeing this terrible movie when he's about to kill Bumblebee. That is literally like only lasts like 2 minutes before Optimus remembers that Bumblebee can talk. Yeah, but that makes no fucking sense. Bumblebee talked at the end of the first movie. How did you not remember that? Are you dumb? Use your brain, man. I just like the soundtrack, just like in Revenge of the Fallen, Age of Extinction. It's just there. It's background noise, and it's there is nothing noteworthy to this movie. There is nothing I liked. If it is up there with 50 Shades Darker, oh sorry, 50 Shades Shissier, and Boss Baby, oh sorry, Shit Baby, and the shitty Beauty and the Beast remake as one of the worst movies of 2017, period. I mean, if you like shit movies, if you like being tortured with medieval torture, if you like being in pain, you're going to love this movie. You're not going to give a fuck what the critics say. As for everybody else who has a brain, do not waste your time, your money, or your oxygen on this thing. This movie can go fuck itself. I am going to proudly give this thing a big fat fucking 0 out of 10. So, Ollie, how did you find more enjoyment in The Last Night than me?
I believe he's
Ollie's just left.
silent. Okay then.
Yeah, right. David, I personally wouldn't recommend The Last Night. You deserve to see a better movie this summer.
I think I do as well.
Yeah.
I think the whole world deserves a better movie this summer.
Absolutely. Yeah. I hope The Last Night flops at the box office so that they cancel Transformers 6.
Well, as of right now, it's the lowest grossing opening of a Transformers movie in America. And just looking at stats right now, first Transformers movie got a 57 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh yeah.
Revenge of the Fallen got a 19. Dark of the Moon got a 35. Age of Extinction got an 18. And The Last Night has got a 15.
Yeah, 15. Are they? Yeah, that goes to show.
That's brutal.
I know, right?
As in, it's not as bad as Fantastic Four, but it's still pretty bad.
Or Fan Four Stick, that had like a 7%.
Yeah, that I can't believe how bad that movie actually was.
Oh, that is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my entire life. It made me appreciate.
That was a train wreck.
Oh, definitely. It was a complete bore from start to finish.
And it's been 2 years since it's came out, and nobody cares.
Nobody remembers it anymore. It actually makes you appreciate the 2005 and 2007 Fantastic Four movies. They're good in comparison.
I know, and that's crazy to think of.
Yeah.
Oh, hi.
Sorry, Harry. Are you finished, or are you still going on?
Oh yeah, I finished, Ollie. And so, did you find more enjoyment in The Last Night than me?
Short answer: yes. Can I ask before I carry on? What did you rate the movie?
0. A big fat fucking 0.
Would you
Thanks
go
much.
minus if you could?
Yeah, minus
That's
if I.
like Die Another Day minus in millions, so 0 is generous. Well, The Last Night. I was actually kind of surprised by this movie. I'm sorry, Harry, I'm not with you.
Oh, that's all right.
I was skeptical because I didn't like Age of Extinction, and the trailers weren't really showing much to me. I mean, the Optimus Prime being evil stuff seemed interesting, but I was actually kind of surprised when I watched it. Well, yeah, it's not great, but I'd say marginally I can pass it off. It'll do. It's fine, but no more, please. But obviously, if it makes money, it gets a sequel. I find it kind of intriguing, the whole plot regarding the King Arthur thing and the Knights of the Round Table. That it's a great work of storytelling, but at least it was intriguing more than a story, which Age of Extinction didn't. So I like that. For me, I actually found the pacing to be a lot quicker. I mean, it is long, and it does feel long, but thankfully it's shorter than Age of Extinction. I was really worried because they get longer each time. I was really worried that The Last Night was going to be 3 hours, but thankfully Michael Bay decided to cut it down to 2.5 hours, which is good. It's the second shortest, which I think really helps with this movie. And the action for me is a lot better. It's not as in your face. It's the same as what you've seen before, but there's not as much of it, and it's not as in your face. So I like that, and I appreciated that. He has listened to some of his criticisms. I mean, also, as a Brit, it was nice that they went to the UK. It was nice that they did that. I appreciated that. It doesn't always have to be in America, so that was good. The cast as well. We once again returned to Mark Wahlberg as he's good in this movie. I actually think Mark Wahlberg is better in this movie than he is in Age of Extinction. Oh, I'm hearing a rustling noise. Is that a signal issue?
I've got nothing.
Oh, right. I don't know. It must be me. Sorry. But yeah, no, I liked his character in this one. I mean, his daughter has gone away. I like the fact that he's a guy on the run. You know, he's trying to hide away from the government. The fact that the events of Age of Extinction, even though we didn't understand what they were, the events of Age of Extinction are still impacting on him and his life. There's a nice scene when he phone calls his daughter, but he can't actually say anything because otherwise the government would track him down. I thought that was actually kind of sad, really. But at least, like, you know, there was a moment there where they didn't forget about his daughter. I guess that's the reason why they put in the little girl called Isabella to replace his daughter. But she was so pointless. She added nothing to the movie. She was in the beginning. She was in the end. I actually liked her in the beginning because she was a fighter. I thought, okay, she's a rebel. She's gonna join Cade in his journey. But no. She just stays in the junkyard for most of the movie, and then at the end she's dragged in for the climax, which doesn't make any lick of sense whatsoever. But what the hell? It's a Michael Bay movie. I'll go with it. And Laura Haddock is the new sort of main female in this, and she's obviously being British, which is nice. She's cool. She's not as sexualized as the others, in my opinion, anyway. There's one moment when she wears a sexy dress, and there's obviously some sexual jokes that are made, but nothing on the level of Revenge of the Fallen or even Dark of the Moon, or even Age of Extinction, actually. So I appreciated that. I mean, she was okay. It was shit, the whole idea of her being Merlin's descendant, and she was the only one that could carry the staff.
Oh, definitely.
If that be the case, what was the point in Optimus Prime trying to steal it for Quintessa? Because Quintessa wouldn't have been able to have used it. It doesn't matter. again, I enjoyed this one as a ton of fun. It was fun. It was a fun watch. It was a fun romp. The action was good. I did like Optimus Prime turning evil, but they wasted it. It was a missed opportunity. He didn't really do anything in the movie. He was captured for most of it. Turns up like 3/4 of the way in to steal the staff, and then he turns good again. So it's like, oh, well, that was a waste. I mean, he does have a cool fight with Bumblebee, and I did like that. That was quite intense. When Optimus was about to kill Bumblebee, Cade was trying to stop him from killing him, which I thought was quite good. But yeah, I mean, there's not much else to it really. It's more of the same, and it's, the CGI is great. It's a major improvement over Age of Extinction because at least it has an intriguing premise. It's a bit more. The comedy is a bit better this time. It's a bit more fun. It's not as leery or heavy as some of the other ones, which is good. They've downscaled it a bit, and there's some nice nostalgia in there. They bring in some characters like John Turturro comes back for a cameo for no reason, but what the hell, nostalgia wins, I guess. A couple of the old Transformers that we've seen in the previous films return, and it's not as over the top as some of the others as well, which is nice. It goes back to what I liked in the first one, and it's just more simple. I mean, it's not as simple as the first one because it has this whole convoluted thing with the Knights of the Round Table. But even so, it'll do. It's better than the last three at least for me. And I liked I liked Anthony Hopkins in this movie. I'm not gonna lie. I think he seemed to be genuinely enjoying himself. Spoiler alert: I thought his death was completely forced. Like, he just dies in a random explosion. It just, like, what?
Seriously? That's how he dies, isn't it?
Yeah, like, I'm sure Harry would agree. It just doesn't make any lick of sense whatsoever.
I know, right? Anthony Hopkins was only in the movie just for star power, just to trick people to seeing it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, the climax is actually pretty decent. It's not as big or huge as Age of Extinction or even the two before that. It's actually a smaller climax, which is nice. When they go and fight Quintessa, it's still huge. It's still big and it's still epic, but it's not as heavy going, which I really appreciated. I thought, you know what? He's actually tried this time. Michael Bay has tried. He's tried to do something that is a little bit less hard to manage than the previous ones. I mean, it's still the same movie and it still ends in the same way with the speech or Optimus Prime, but it does feel very final and it does feel like the last one, and it feels like it should be the last one because I don't think we can take any more of these movies. The pacing is good. I mean, sometimes during the beginning it can sag. They do spend a bit too much time in Cade's junkyard. Also, just a little thing, I don't really like his hair in this movie. That's just a minor thing. Also, what annoyed me was the constant changing of the aspect ratio. This is because some of the film is shot in IMAX 3D, and like random shots are edited in this. Even if there's like a scene when people are talking, the aspect ratio will just change, and then it will go back to with the black bars. It'd be like, what? It goes from the anamorphic to the 16:9. It's like, that doesn't make sense. What? Like, it should only really be for like the bigger scenes, like the big action scenes. But no, they do it for some of the quieter moments as well, which it doesn't make any sense. Like with films like The Dark Knight and The Dark Knight Rises, they shot certain scenes in IMAX, and the ratio changed, and then it went back to normal for a while, and then it changed again. It wasn't random like Transformers, which was the case. But oh well, what the hell? Michael Bay's direction, it's a little bit better this time, but he really needs to move on and do something else with his career if he wants to earn a good reputation. The music score I really like as well, and it's very nostalgic. This movie is quite nostalgic too, if you do like the movies of the series, which is well, only a few people out there. But it made me look back on the first movie, which was 10 years ago. So it had some nice references to that. So that was nice. But there's not much more I can say. It's just the same thing, and the door is obviously left open for the sixth one, which I hope they don't do. But the door is also closed as well. And yeah, I don't know I can't remember if there was a song during the credits. Was there a song during the credits, Harry?
I don't remember, to be honest. I was relieved walking out of that theatre. I didn't even stay for the credits.
Yeah, I know that that the music that played at the end sort of continued for a little bit, but I can't remember if a song played afterwards. But it doesn't matter. So yeah, Transformers: The Last Night. I also think the opening's good with the opening battle during the Dark Ages, and again the same praises as before: cinematography, visual effects, CGI, sound design. They are all fantastic. That's what Michael Bay's forte is. I urge him to give up directing and deal with the technical side of film because that is where his talents lie. I don't deny he is a prick. He's a bastard. The way he treats people is shit.
Definitely.
The guy is talented, and I don't dismiss talent when I see it. So I would say to him, if he ever comes across this, which is unlikely, that he decides to just stick with something technical, because that's where his faults lie. He should be employed as a technical director, a post-production supervisor. I think would be his best forte. But yeah, again, this movie is also probably too long, even though it is one of the shorter ones. It's the same as before. I mean, most of the characters here aren't as annoying as some of the other movies. So there is one character who is a C-3PO ripoff. Deliberately mentioned that in the script. So yeah, it knows what it is. It knows when to have fun, and it's not as over the top as some of the others. And it's fine. It's fine. It'll do. But please, just let this series go now. It's done. Just let it go. So I'm going to score The Last Night a very respectable 6 out of 10. That's it. Well, for now anyway. That's it. That's all of the Transformers movies talked about. So, David, would you like to give an overall summary of what you think of the series and how do you rank the movies? Well, the ones you've seen anyway.
I have mixed. I want to say I have mixed feelings, but the only one that I really like is the first one, and even then, I think that it's only all right.
You don't even like the first one, to be fair.
I think that it's all right. It's okay. All right. But yeah, I think that ever since the first movie, I think the series has went on a downward slope, and it seems as though although we seem to have a consistent order on which films were the better ones, with the even ones being the bad movies, but with The Last Night, it seems to be either side.
Yeah.
Some people think that it's...
We have one that's, well, I'm sort of praising it slightly, and Harry's giving it an extreme rant.
Exactly, so it seems to be one way or the other, so it's a very inconsistent series.
It's a divisive series as well. Like different films. Like I've heard people really shit on Dark of the Moon as well, and even the first one. Some people really hate the first one.
Yeah, but I would say that if they were to do anything with the Transformers movies, I would recommend just retooling, starting all over again in a
Get rid of Michael Bay.
Yeah, get rid of Michael Bay. Don't even have him on as a producer.
He can't produce.
So, and just get a new writers team as well. You need better writers.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that it has a few highlights, like Sam Witwicky. He's an alright character. I think that the series across the board has looked pretty good, with sometimes it looking great, sometimes it looking not great. The action is always high octane. And if you want to shut your brain off completely and just sit there, have some fun, Transformers is there, I guess. But I just say go watch Pacific Rim.
So you can't. There's only so much of robots hitting each other that you can tolerate. especially if you want to
Yeah.
watch Age of Extinction, which is 2 hours 45 minutes.
I basically say if you want to watch robots fighting each other, go watch Pacific Rim, even though that's monsters versus robots.
Same principle.
Yeah, big things hitting each other.
Cool. How do you rank, obviously, the first 4 movies? Because you haven't seen the 5th one yet.
I would put the first one first, then the third one as second, then I'd probably. This is tough because as we've been talking about it, I've been going back and forth whether or not I like Age of Extinction more than Revenge of the Fallen.
I think even like is a different word.
Yeah, it's pretty tough. I don't know. Coin toss, I guess. It's a coin toss with
why didn't you have joint third?
Yeah, joint third, Revenge of the Fallen and Age of Extinction.
Well, at least they both made the top 3. Yay!
Yay!
Okay, Harry. Well, with again another expectation of a possible rant. What's your opinion of the Transformers series directed by Michael Bay, and how do you rank the 5 movies?
Well, thanks, Ollie. Well, I obviously
don't thank me. Thank Michael Bay. He gave you them.
Oh yeah, thanks Michael Bay for the good ones, but fuck you for the bad ones. Just, I obviously hate these series even more than I like, which is a shame because I really liked the first one. That was a near perfect Transformers movie in live action. That was on par with the 1980s cartoon, and third one was watchable. Those are the only 2 good ones, but the others are just pieces of shit where he just didn't care anymore. And it's such a shame that this series, which had potential to be something great, just turned into turned into a generic Hollywood franchise that just keeps getting made for the money and no other reason. So yeah, how movies, The Last Night as the worst. Sorry, Ollie, but
no, it's fine. It's your opinion, man.
Oh, that's okay. And second worst, Age of Extinction, and third, Revenge of the Fallen, second, Dark of the Moon, and number 1, obviously, the first Transformers. But you know what? Just make a Transformers movie with your toys. You'll have a perfect time. So, Ollie, what's your overall opinion on the franchise, and how would you rank the movies?
Yeah. Well, as I said, I'm probably the one who's been the kindest to this series out of 3 of us.
Oh, by far.
But
No. I think we've been very positive.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough. I don't think these are brilliant films. I don't think they're terrible. I think they're fun, or most of them are. I enjoy them. I think the first one has a lot going for it. It's just a simple, fun film. And it was really where Michael Bay kind of just had it right. He didn't overcomplicate it. He didn't try to be too epic. He just made a simple film. Yes, it was long, but it was easy to follow. The characters were interesting. Like you said, there were some highlights like Sam Witwicky and his journey. Optimus Prime and all the Transformers, they all looked really cool, and the action was awesome. One thing that's remained consistent about these movies is the action has been pretty entertaining, even though there has been an overabundance of it in particular films such as the 4th one, Age of Cough. The series has not really seen much change, and I think that's kind of where it's sagged. It's just felt very repetitive, very rinse and repeat. Run of the mill, more of the same. It just doesn't I think because Michael Bay has directed all of them, it just feels very much like he's remade the first one 4 times. That's what it feels like. I do think there are some flashes of good character development in there, and there are some things that have potential. It's obviously wasted potential. Pretty much all the movies are too long. last one to a degree. But, you know, I don't think they're as offensively bad as people make out. They have their moments where they are really bad, and they have the moments when they are pretty decent. So for me, I still get a kick out of some of the action, and I still enjoy some of the characters. But as a series, it's very inconsistent. It's very uneven. You'll get a sort of good one, then a sort of bad one, sort of good, sort of bad. So for me, it's gone on like a zigzag, like from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. It's gone very zigzagged to me. So yeah, for that reason, I can't really say it's a good series of films. I can just say it's an all right series of films because of its zigzaggy, reception. Well, it's zigzaggy in terms of quality. I would rank the movies like this. Obviously, number 5 is Age of Extinction. And I'm not going to apologize for that opinion. Number 4 would have to be Revenge of the Fallen. Then number 3 is Dark of the Moon. Number 2 is The Last Night. And number 1 is the first one, Transformers. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Is there anything that you guys want to say before we close off?
Laura Haddock was actually in the In-Betweeners movie.
Was she? Who did she play? One of the girls, obviously, but
Will's girlfriend.
Oh, I knew I recognised it from somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I pray for Travis Knight.
Yeah, I mean, if there's any hope for the future of this series, first of all, I would urge them to get rid of Michael Bay, even as a producer, because he can't produce for the life of him or direct. And
I want Travis Knight to pull out of Transformers Bumblebee and go make another Kubo and the Two Strings.
Yeah, Kubo was an amazing movie. I don't know if you've seen it, Harry. Kubo was absolutely...
Yeah, right. Yeah, I have. It was an animated masterpiece.
If he's, I hope that he can bring something to this universe. Yeah. I just don't trust the writers.
Also, another reason why Age of Extinction probably came out 3 years after the third one was because Michael Bay made a film called 13 Hours. So that, I mean, it was like a war movie. Like, it seems like that's all he wants to do is just make a war movie where things blow up.
I've heard 13 Hours is pretty good.
Yeah, I've heard it's all right, actually. I've heard it's not his worst movie. Apparently, Pain and Gain.
And Pain and Gain is all right as well.
Yeah, I've heard Pain and Gain is awful. That stars Mark Wahlberg, so maybe that's how he got coped into doing Transformers.
Yeah, I believe so. He worked on Pain and Gain, and he wanted to work with him again.
Yeah, Michael Bay.
I'm not the biggest fan of the movie, but I think that in terms of Michael Bay, it's one of his all right ones.
Yeah, probably because it's not as big as Transformers.
Yeah, it does some despicable things in it, like though.
God, yeah. I mean, you see all these videos on YouTube of the If Michael Bay Directed. I watched the Frozen one recently. I thought that was hilarious. Oh, God. If Michael Bay wanted to build a snowman, it wouldn't last 2 seconds. It would explode.
Definitely.
From the carrot first.
Yeah. It's weird, though, because also another 5th movie has come out this summer, Pirates of the Caribbean 5. And comparing those 5 movies to these 5, there's a major difference in quality, I think.
Oh, Pirates of the Caribbean is way better than this.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen the new one yet, David.
No, I haven't, but I love the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, so it's already one. It's already one.
Yeah, well, I personally really enjoyed Salazar's Revenge. I thought it was a very good entry to the series. It was good, solid fun, and very nostalgic, actually. It was a long wait for it, but it was worth it, I thought.
Good to know. I hope to see it soon.
Yeah, I don't know how long it's going to be playing for. until it finishes. So yeah, if you get a chance,
Yeah, but it'll be on DVD soon enough, so I'll probably watch it then.
Yeah, I see those sort of films are some of the films I love to see in the cinema just because they're so much fun. I mean, even like Transformers, it is made for the big screen.
Yeah. Understandably, and I would. It's just time and money.
Time, money. Yeah, that's fair enough. But I mean, at least Transformers, like, I can appreciate it on the big screen because it's like it's huge and there's loads of action and all of the sound and everything. It does look good on screen. I'll give it that. I think we're all in agreement that they look, or for the most part, that they look good.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much it then, guys. That's the reflection on the Transformers saga. So yeah, what did you think of Michael Bay's Wet Dream? Please leave a comment down below and let us know. And how do you rank the 5 Transformers movies? So that's it for now, guys. Until the next hangout, thank you all for watching and listening. I'm Mr. TARDIS11. This is David and Harry, and see